Okay, good evening, it's 6:04. Thank you for coming to the Fraser Park Public Utility District meeting on October 10th, 2019 at 6:04. Let's stand and do the pledge.
I'm slow.
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Director Nyman.
Here.
Director Schoenberg.
Here.
Director Garcia.
Yes.
Director Gibson.
Here.
And Director Kelly. All five present and accounted for. Do we need to adjust the agenda any?
I don't think so. There's nobody
Not that I
here to
saw.
adjust for.
Okay. Any public comments? No public tonight. President report, nothing. Vice President report?
No.
Secretary?
No.
Treasurer?
Yes, we made a transfer of $105,621.25 from the Revenue Operating Fund to the USDA Payment Fund for our annual principal and interest payment
For October.
for October. And that will be coming out of that fund on the 15th.
Good job.
And that leaves us a balance of $92,193.44 in the.
All right, I met with Joe Karkowski, who's the Assistant Deputy Director at the Division of Financial Assistance with the state. I was invited by Dave, guy was passing over the grapevine. Him, our regulators came, except for Jesse, he was busy, but our new regulator came. Dave, we took a tour of Lake of the Woods in Fraser Park. And this guy, I don't know if he was just recently assigned or whatever, but he feels like everything, like our consolidation is taking too long. He thinks that he thinks he could speed everything up faster, move it along faster. He was asking about, what it cost, and Dave was saying, well, it's looking like 20 million. And Dave says, we're aware that there's a 20 million cap, and he says, I would just talk about that, discuss that. It sounds like he may exclude, but offer like loans to tie people in instead of just doing the grant and having them like they're doing for everybody else. Which kind of makes sense when you think about it. If you have a 5-acre parcel and you got a big giant house, and why should you get the same thing that the poorer people are getting? But
Who was this guy you met with?
the Assistant Director of Finances with the state water boards.
And is his name?
Joe Karkowski, Karkoski. So anyway, real nice guy. He said he likes to get out and meet people because it's better than just phone conferences and stuff. And he also came up with some ideas. He was talking about how there's nitrates, and he says, we need to do something about the nitrates as well. He says, if there's no place to put a treatment plant, maybe we need to come up with some funding for replacing the water tanks, the septic tanks that are directly influencing the nitrates. Everybody was kind of shocked he would come up with that
Here,
idea.
Lake of the Woods.
Well, I'm getting to that. We were talking about it in Lake of the Woods. I said, but well 5 we come in around 5, it's still well below the state limit, but there's not that many houses around there. And he said, we need to talk about that, because it sounds like he wants to help. So I think what they would do is they would come up with some kind of funding where we would replace the people's septic tanks that are around our wells that are directly influencing our wells, and then that solves the nitrate problem before it becomes
A nitrate problem.
a nitrate problem. So I like the guy, no matter what comes of it, but he also thinks we need to fast track the smart meter project as well, and he's willing to help with that. So it was a very beneficial meeting, just for the sake of seeing that somebody on the state also agrees with us that it's been taking a really long time, and prices go up, everything costs more by the time they finally get around to doing it. So Hopefully that benefits us in the long run. The next thing is,
How long have we been working on this? Is this year 3?
Well, we're going into the 4th year. aren't
at
we?
least
5 or
4th.
something.
I think it actually started being discussed in 2013.
Wow.
I think that's what Dave was saying. It's been a long time.
Well, we were on hold for 2 years.
And a lot of projects take a long time, but
But
also.
they didn't give us funding for planning for like 2
Yeah.
years, so that's really,
So hopefully that's good. He also, he's at least entertaining the thought of Dave doing more work for, do a grant for a back truck to do potholing around Fraser Park. So then we could do the engineering report to get mainline replacement, all the things that we are held back from doing because we don't have the money. So I'll be working with Dave. Unfortunately, Dave's really busy, but the guy that's helping him out now, Oscar, is that his name?
Yes, Cisneros.
He seems very sharp.
Yes,
He
I
was.
He was there. I
I was impressed.
was impressed too. He seems like a nice guy, and he seems like he's on the ball, so that's going to help too. So
I actually feel like he's really like hit the road running.
yeah, and I have not in the past. Sometimes when the changeover goes, when Dave leaves, it's kind of like oh no.
Yeah, because it's hard for them to catch
You guys
up.
met him last
Yeah,
meeting?
he came here.
Yeah, and then he was part of that meeting that I had too.
He came here and he really seemed to understand the. You know, he had all of the payout. You know, he handled, and he seemed really sharp with it.
Cool.
Not at all like Benny.
Okay, so then the other things are, well, one thing is, I'll get it out of the way. We discovered that now that we're having 2 meetings, and Tiffany is so swamped all the time, and during the meetings, she's having to get up, she's finding files, making copies. It's becoming such a workload for her with all these contracts and keeping track of everything that she's starting to forget some stuff, like turning on the recording button.
The streaming stuff.
The streaming stuff. So what I propose is on meeting nights we bring Cassandra in to run the media, so she could go back to being her board clerk and doing all the paperwork and keeping track of stuff, because there's so many things that are so critical that it's in it that we need somebody else that could sit here and just run the microphone and the camera and stuff like
And
that.
hit the button in
And
the
hit
right
the button
spots.
and make sure she would still be doing the rest of the stuff, but it would take a big load off of Tiffany, because it is a large load now. The 2 meetings a month and all it's just it's a lot. So I would like to start bringing Cassandra in for the meetings, help out with that.
And I think if she comes for the planning meeting, her staff hours would be reimbursed.
Yeah, we could do the reimbursement for that one, so that'll help take the edge off a little bit. But I think it would really help everything out. So if nobody's opposed, you don't have
So
to be
coming
voted
in
on.
separate from you, or
Coming in with her.
addition to you? Yeah.
In addition,
Yeah,
Okay.
so then she could still do all of that
the notes.
and
the-
finding reports and all
Right,
that
but
stuff.
like Cassandra, listen also and try to
Yeah,
to put spots in the right.
Yeah, Cassandra's
places.
sole job will be running the recorder
Okay.
and the cameras.
Yeah.
And
So-
listening, so that if for some reason Tiffany's out, she's even better at doing
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
board meeting.
Actually, she'll be here at the November regular because I'll be at my board secretary conference.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so you guys don't have to necessarily vote on it unless you guys are opposed to it. It's not an agenda item, but
I don't have a problem with it. If it eliminates the mistakes and errors and omissions, absolutely. Doesn't do no good to be transparent if you're including all the mistakes in it too, so then.
And is that additional hours would be overtime, or is that just?
no, I mean, she works full time right now, so it's gonna
So
be
it would
time and a
be
half,
like-
yeah.
Time and a half.
Put it on the agenda.
Oh, you wanna vote on it? You don't wanna just allow me to direct the employee?
Do I?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
If you guys aren't
If you want,
opposed.
if you wanna, I'm opposed.
Oh, okay, well, that's all I was asking.
Okay, I'll put it on the agenda.
Agenda item.
Okay, next agenda item. Obviously with the power outage situation, I've been doing a lot of planning, to make sure that we are covered. I'm gonna get quotes on, we need at least 1, possibly 2 portable generators that we could tow around to the booster sites. that big booster that we got would be designated for the wells running that, and then the 2 towables would be for going around to the booster sites, because otherwise you're trying to run all over town with the, I don't know how much that thing weighs, but it's huge, that generator. You gotta run the well, fill the first tank, run to that tank, fill another tank, go to the next tank, fill the next tank. So we need at least 2 going on at the same time. The other benefit is, so far, unless I get better quotes, it's very expensive to put a backup generator on the office. So if I can do it in a reasonable amount of money, then we'll do that. If not, we could have an electrician come in, run some outlets that go on that wall by the SCADA cabinet and the computer, maybe a light and the alarm system, and we could run an extension cord from whatever backup generator we got over to the office until we do have the money to have a fixed backup generator. If you read the news, every water district is trying to scramble to get generators at their sites. We can't afford to put a generator at all 9 sites that we got. But we can afford to get a couple of generators to tow them around and do what we
So
need to do.
what would be the cost on like for a generator to tow around?
I don't know, I'm gonna have to find out. I mean, we spent $70,000 on the
big
giant one.
Right.
Well, we didn't spend that, it was free.
Well,
But still,
it was
$70,000,
using the
but I would
money we had
imagine-
left in our.
When I get quotes, it's gonna be much more,
Like 30 or something.
maybe even less, maybe only 5, I don't know, because there's much smaller pumps. So you don't need as big. You want,
You just need the generators that would run that certain
yeah,
size
maybe that, maybe less, I don't know, you know, I don't know yet, I'm just throwing it out there that I'm getting quotes, so we'll know more.
So where are you saying you're gonna position the big one?
The big one's gonna be used for back and forth between well 6 and well 5.
Okay.
We'll have to, you know, fill the tanks and go back and forth, unless well 4, the water
And
table
well
is
5
good
is for
enough.
pumping well 5 and also for the boosters, is that?
Yeah, that's why the generator's so bad, or
Right,
so big,
right.
because at well 5, you got a big, huge booster station from the last project, as well as the well, so you gotta be able to run all of it.
That's why I'm wondering, is it better to just leave that positioned at well 5 or no?
Well, we could do that too, but, you know, stage it there initially, because if the water table's good in an emergency, we could run the diesel motor at well 4 and try to run well 4, but right now the pumping level is still too low to run well 4.
My concern about, I would rather have it still staged here if we have to move it, because here we have the alarm system and stuff, because down there's less visibility, and who knows, you don't want somebody
Yeah,
to
and-
decide they're gonna hook up our generator and steal it.
See, that's
And
another
that's
thing.
$70,000.
We gotta get an engineer in here, I mean, not an engineer, an electrician in here to wire outlets to where we could turn on all of the alarms, cause in a power outage, we have no alarms, unless we have the backup generator portion, which is why we need a stationary one at the office that'll automatically kick on, because if it goes off in the middle of the night, nobody knows.
Yeah, I kind of think even though it's gonna be pricey, I mean, I'm not sure about 50,000. I mean, I
Let me
think it
get
might
quotes.
come in lower than that,
Oh,
but
yeah.
but I think that we should vote on just spending the money for a stationary. I mean, the telemetry is an issue, so we want that to be covered. The alarms are an issue, so we want that to be covered. We want to be able to have a base in case there's, you know, because there's other reasons why the electricity might not work too. It might not just be a forced power outage, it might be a fire,
Or
it might be
whatever.
an earthquake, it might be so.
Well, the 50,000 came in from P&J, so I just heard today that Harry at Ace, I think he only spent, you know, a few thousand for his house. So I'm gonna talk to Harry and find out what he did for his house, because this is basically like a house. It's not like we need a big, huge.
Yeah, it's
deal.
not
A couple of
huge
Generacs
investment.
probably.
Yeah, you know,
It's a
smaller,
smaller-
something that runs off of propane, so it's not dependent on diesel fuel or whatever. So anyway, so I'm checking into that. And,
Yeah, bring us some numbers.
yeah, the next thing is on Michigan Trail, we were losing pressure. There was 4 houses there. Just we've had this happen before. It was a corroded main line that was causing the problem. So
Well, before we get to that, we have the discussion vote on repairs of the truck.
Well, I'm still
we
doing
haven't
my
done that.
manager's report right
He's
now.
not even
I don't-
on it
I-
yet.
He's not even on any of that yet.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. Excuse me.
So anyway, so we're potholing to try to find out what's going on with the pressure loss. Turns out we find a 6-inch PVC in the ground that has already got service lines stubbed up into the 4-meter boxes or 5, but not hooked up. So we turn it on, it's empty, we drill it, it's empty. So we turn it on, and it turns out that there's a leak. But it does get water up to the meter boxes. So it's kind of not related to the pressure loss, but it was, wow, they put in a new line and then they did it wrong and it blew apart at a what's supposed to be 90-degree angle. They didn't support it right. I have
No
pictures.
thrust block.
No thrust block, no restraints, no nothing. Well, they had restraints, but then at the last piece, they tried to force the angle too much and they didn't restrain that, so it blew apart. So it's like they just decided, well, we put it in brand new, but we're just going to walk away from that, and they buried it. And it's not on our maps. So
Oh.
I went
So who
down.
put, I thought maybe you thought, as you were talking, I was thinking somebody, a person put it in there. I mean, you know, a homeowner kind of thing.
No, the water company put it in at some point, probably Eco or somebody.
Back in the day.
Long and the short of it is, I have the material in the back of my truck now to do that joint right. We're going to do that. We're going to disinfect. We're going to pressurize it. We're going to see if it blows out somewhere else. But basically, we're going to probably end up with a 6-inch main down a road that only had a 2-inch main before,
Nice.
and hook everybody up without us having to pay for it. I don't know how they ever.
Did you say that's
So
on Elm?
I know
No,
on
Michigan.
Michigan, and I
Off of
thought
East
it was
End.
part of the first USDA, and they may just not have mapped it. But Johnny was saying that the pipe was like a different.
It's white.
It's
white
white
PVC.
but I don't know because I could have sworn we had white PVC for that project.
Yeah, you're probably the only one that's been around.
So that's what they did was, see, that's supposed to be only a 22 right there. And they tried to make the pipe bend to a 45 and they didn't put these restraints on it. So it just blew apart right there.
Right there. Oh.
And then they just walked away from it. They shut the valve off and they just walked away.
And they were so
I don't know
not
if you guys
careful
wanna see
back
that.
then because we still had, we were gonna go after and sue Eco at one point, but they.
Well,
Never
for
did.
some reason they had that thought back in the old days, back then, because we've all heard it a million times about Elm Trail, where they were going to bury a pipe and not hook it up. I don't know what the sense of that is, but it seems like that's what happened. So now we're going to utilize that pipe. So
they were
that
never supposed to bury a pipe and not hook it up. That was never, on Elm Trail. That was not part of our intention. It was supposed to be a working system, but
so then the next thing is we found out that the pressure loss was a leak right by the museum. The 2-inch was leaking by the museum for a very long time, but the ground is so porous it never surfaced. So it finally surfaced, finally ran through, washed out their gravel at the museum, so we fixed that. I had the guys take pea gravel back over there and do a real nice job fixing the parking lot again, put the gravel back down, make it look like it did before we had the calamity, so everybody's real happy with us about that.
because I got a call about that from somebody.
So anyway, and that's it for my manager's report, except for, if you want to go on to item A,
That's where we go next.
Truck 226 had damage done to it from prior employee, peeled the skin off the front bumper. The back bumper had been messed up. Well, now that that's gone, that issue is gone, I got a quote, which is in here. And I want to get it fixed back the way it's supposed to be fixed. This quote that I got was the guy who fixed our truck the last time, and it's $1,400. And I don't know if you guys want me to submit that to insurance or just pay for it.
Well,
That's our deductible.
I thought when it first happened and we discussed the accident.
That was
I
a
thought-
different truck. That was 227 that had the underneath the door messed up. 226 is a different truck.
So it's multiple collisions?
Yeah, the front and the back. He backed into something one night on a leak that got the back bumper, and then I didn't know the front bumper was kind of on there. I didn't notice it until after the fact when the next guy that got the truck said, "Hey, I don't want to get blamed for this, and we need
Brought
to
it to your
fix that."
attention.
Yeah, we want to fix that. So,
What's our deductible?
I don't even think we
It
have a
would be
deductible
per
with
accident.
JPIA.
It would be per collision. If it's anything like private.
I don't think they even charged us a deductible last time, and they didn't give us any qualms. They didn't make me get 3 quotes. They didn't do any of that. They just said, yeah, sure, no problem, fix it.
Okay.
And we did. So it's
It's
the same
over
guy.
1,000. I would do it to the insurance. I think.
Yeah.
He's running through there.
Did we have a problem with the tree insurance? I mean, with stuff going.
We've never had a problem with them. When they even ripped off all our tools, they never balk at none of that. They're you guys are
This
good
is all
customers.
through JPIA.
Yeah,
right?
and they consider us still a very good
really,
customer.
Because
We still
really
get
don't turn in that much stuff.
no, we still get the awards for
Yeah.
saving money because this stuff we do get to them,
Minor.
$1,400 is minor. You know, there's not loss of limb, loss of life,
Knock on wood.
all of that stuff. So anyway, so we want to keep the trucks nice. So, and then the last thing I want to bring up with the trucks,
So we're gonna submit it to insurance.
yeah, I'll submit to insurance.
Okay, all right.
The last thing I want to bring up is that because of the loss of communication and a power outage, I want to get handheld radios, preferably that's on the same frequency as our two-way radios. So when we're out of the trucks and we're running pumps and we're running stuff at tank sites, well sites, and when our guys go home, they live in the district close enough, they could take the radio with them inside because if the cell phones aren't working, we have to have a way to communicate.
Right.
So I'm gonna, if they're something reasonable, then I'll get them. If they're not, then I'm gonna get the two-way radios that are not on the same frequency, and we'll just get a 8-pack of them or something. So even if board members come in, there'll be radios for multiple people to have. We'll have a charging station, earpieces, and all that stuff. So I'll bring that
But
back
the
to you
same
when I get the
frequency
quotes.
is nice because I
Yeah.
guess that Lebec did test that and they're able to talk to us on that
Yeah,
frequency.
yeah, and I've actually heard the guys talking up here when I was in Bakersfield. Although normally it only goes down to the truck stop before it starts getting staticky. But if the conditions are right. And another thing that we ought to add to at least one truck is a CB radio. Because if worse comes to worse, there's always the trucks on the highways. It's not expensive. You could at least still get messages around back and forth. So,
Oh, I know Bill Hopper says that is the.
well, he's a ham radio guy.
Yeah.
That's different. We'd have to have licenses for that, and we don't really want to have to go through all of that. Ham radios are great if you need to communicate across the world, but we just want to communicate right off the mountain, So, anyway, I'll let you
And
guys
we
know
have a
about all that
license
stuff.
for the two-way.
Yeah, we'd have to amend it, but that's no big deal because it's per radio.
Okay.
But now that this is going to be an ongoing thing, I think it's important to get everything.
And even if it's not, I feel like the more we have in the way of communication for any kind of emergency, the better off we are.
Well, one of the things I did was I did up a task instead of a policy or a procedure. We could do a policy later on. But it's just the steps that we do when we anticipate a power outage or before winter or whatever it may be. It's just all the steps that we're going to go through to make sure that we're ready. And this is what we just did.
You were talking about implementing a little task book or something that's in one spot.
We'll do that.
Okay.
Definitely. It's going to be kind of like a memo. You keep memos all on a clipboard. You can
Right.
refer back to them. That's how it's going to be for the guys. Well, all of us, but the guys the tasks are directed towards, they're going to have it with them all the time. Probably hanging in the Connex too, so then they can. Some new guy comes on, doesn't know what he's doing. Oh, what do I do? Oh, well, call the general manager first. Keep me posted.
I would put one here too. Just
No, I mean they're going to be all over. Is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Awesome.
Our emergency procedures too. Everybody's got a copy, and that's got contact numbers for the state. It's got boil notice information. It's got everything that we need. We've all, it's all readily available for everybody.
Where is our?
I have one hanging in there. Cassandra's got one. Tiffany's got one hanging in there on the wall.
Okay.
So we all got them, and
I just
I
like to know where
update
it's
them
at.
at least at a minimum once a year. I update them every year. JPIA comes in. I sit down with them. We go over a checklist of everything. We update everything, the contact stuff. So
can we do just a little if you guys are okay with this, it'd be nice to just have a book of this kind of stuff that until it's not a policy yet per se, and it's not you know,
Well, that's
some
what she's
sort of
got, right?
procedure stuff that sits here somewhere.
An
That,
emergency procedure?
yeah, just kind of all this stuff. So it's also a copy, so that if we have questions about, oh, is there a task for this? So you know, we don't have to go to the crew and ask them, or you and ask them. We just can go look in that book.
Yeah, I don't care.
And if we don't see something and we have a grand idea about something, we can talk to you about it.
Perfect. And that's all I got.
Okay.
Okay. Administrative assistant report.
Okay. I sent that email around for the changes in meeting dates in November. So everybody was okay moving November's back a week before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And by everybody, I mean you guys were okay with it. Lake of the Woods was fine with it. Oscar and D were okay with that. D can't do December. So the one that falls on December 26th, he couldn't do the 19th and he can't do the 26th. So he's the only,
So we're doing the 14th and the 21st of November.
yes.
Okay, and then you're saying in December it would be the 12th and the 19th, but
The
D-
12th and we were gonna keep the 26th,
Oh, we were going to keep the 26th. That's right.
but
But
I'm
he's not.
D's, it wouldn't work for D to do the 26th, but even moving it a week before, he can't do it.
November
either.
26th would be.
December
Tuesday.
26th,
Oh, December.
Day after
Yeah.
Christmas?
the day
Day
after
after
Christmas.
Okay, so
Oh,
right
yeah.
now, just to be clear, in November
Mm-hmm.
we have the 14th. It would have been on the 28th, but we have the
21st.
14th is our regular meeting. The 21st we have both the ad hoc or standing committee, whatever it's going to be, meeting, and the regular meeting in the
The
evening.
planning.
The planning. Okay.
So
and
yeah,
then-
you would have 2 meetings that day. Is that
Yes.
gonna interfere with your
No.
whatever?
We'll deal with it. And then you're saying the 26th,
Yeah, moving
December.
on to December, the planning meeting would fall on the 26th.
but we can't do the 19th
Well,
I mean,
because
it just,
I mean,
because
Depends what you
D
choose.
can't make it. You're saying.
I'm saying.
Either
He
one.
can't
He
make
can't
either.
make it either.
Neither
I'm
can
thinking
make
almost
it
nobody's
to
gonna
any of
make
them,
it
so.
right
I
there.
won't-
Everybody's
yeah, I won't
off
be
on
out.
vacations and they're out of town and they're
Yeah,
just.
26 is not
Shouldn't we
good for me.
just cancel the annexation meeting
For the 20th.
for the 26th? And if
I
anything
would-
has to be handled, we just move it to the regular meeting in January?
I don't know. Or we move it to the 19th
Fine too.
because there may be stuff that we have to handle. I mean, we're just not getting. I mean, especially if there's any remote ability to fast track anything.
That would be okay with me,
yeah, let's do the
That makes more
19th.
sense because it's not the week of.
right? So 12th and 19th for
So
December.
even though D won't be there, which is so what that also means though is that we should have some ability to talk to D about stuff on the 12th, on the agenda for the 12th,
Mm-hmm.
because we may need to press him on some stuff and he's not going to be available the 19th or the.
Well, and I guess the other question is it he can't have what's his son-in-law's name? That's
Curtis.
Curtis. He couldn't have Curtis come on the 19th.
Yeah, because Curtis definitely is
Then-
handling a lot of stuff too.
19th is the D. Jaspar and Associates office Christmas party.
Oh,
That's what the 19th.
And he may be able to come sometimes, but I get the
Okay.
distinct impression that Curtis is like taking over all the day-to-day
yeah.
engineering stuff, and D is taking on all the
Right.
meetings.
No,
and
it was
board
just a
appearances.
question. It was just a question.
Yeah, so that's what was. the
So
issue.
so basically on the first meeting of the month, if there's things that are outstanding,
It just
We'll
needs
have-
to be on the agenda.
yeah, and you guys will just have to communicate with Curtis and with Dee, like, hey, we're having the meeting on the 19th, provide it before, so they have to get it to you guys like on the 18th if they're gonna do their party and stuff, you know?
And we're meeting also on the
Not during the
24th of this
meeting?
month? 2 weeks from now?
Yes,
Yes. And there's gonna be a meeting of the ad hoc on the 17th.
Yes, which hopefully is quick, because I'm going out of town.
Oh, you're talking about
October
October?
17th is our ad hoc.
Yeah, or whatever it is. We haven't
Yeah.
decided that yet, but
I got
yes.
all that info.
And that's at 11
Okay.
o'clock or 10?
That's at 10 as
10
far as I
a.m.
know.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it in my personal calendar.
Are you ready for the next item?
think so.
Okay, you're all putting it in your phone, so I want to make sure. So the next update I have is I was having problems. The meeting recorder here is what I listen to do the minutes. The playbacks and everything on this recorder. I was having issues. The sound was going crazy on my computer. I wasn't able to hear. It would come out of one side, or the volume would disappear and then come back. And I thought it was a computer issue. We had Bill Bice come out, look at my computer, check to see what's going on, why I'm not really clearly able to listen to the meeting recordings. He came out, checked my computer, checked everything, and found that this is the issue. The first issue is the software. So the software that allows this to play back on my computer is outdated and is not compatible with Windows 10.
Right.
Yeah,
How long have you been
And my-
having the problem?
since I got Windows 10. Windows 10 was put in my computer, I don't know how, maybe a month ago, I'm just guessing. I got a new hard drive because I was having lag issues. So Bill Bice had done some upgrades on my computer and installed Windows 10. The software is not compatible with Windows 10. The license agreement for the software, because I changed hard drives, is no longer recognized. I've been trying to communicate with Philips. So it's a second issue is that I'm on a trial right now. As soon as that 30-day trial runs out, I can't use the meeting software anymore. Third is Bill Bice was doing tests on the meeting recorder. This is actually also malfunctioning. So it's a 3-part problem with the meeting recorder. But
It's antiquated now.
But we
old.
can still use the microphones and
Yes.
stuff, so we
Yeah.
should just get another more, I mean, that's gonna happen constantly.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, this one is old.
I mean, we've
We're
had it for a
running out
couple
for
years.
2012 software that isn't
Or more
compatible
than a couple
anymore.
years.
Yeah, it's been
Um,
a while.
I don't have the quotes yet. I'll put it probably on the next agenda. But buying a new meeting recorder will also come with the updated software. So that'll fix the software problems, the playback problems, and probably the compatibility and the license problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's
It all
amazing that
kind of-
it's still running from.
Plus, what I want to
2012.
do at the same time is, when we get a new one, send that one in, see if we could buy a new license and have that repaired if there's something wrong, just so we could, and I don't know if that's possible, but just so we could have a backup in case something happened. Then that one would just be put away until unless something happened, then we would have the backup. But I don't know if they could upgrade. Bill wasn't sure if they could upgrade the software or not and make it work good again. So
I've been emailing Philips, but they're
very slow.
not. I don't know if they're going to be any help with all of this.
It has served us very well though since 2012. So.
Yeah, and the microphones, they'll be, I want to make sure that I get a recorder that's compatible with the microphones, so they'll be fine. It's just a new recorder. Now, the new recorder, from what I see, runs about 500.
Okay. I
Um,
don't think that's that big.
I mean, even if we were just going to buy the licensing software, that's
How
about
old are these?
300. So
2012.
Yeah.
Shit, 7 years?
7
Yeah,
years.
We got
I mean,
our
come
money
on.
That's,
out of
that's
it.
commendable.
Yeah, it has a default.
I thought it
order.
was less than 7. That's pretty good.
And the next one may last longer because who knows at what point they phase that model out. You know, we could have got that in at the tail end because we didn't know anything about that at the time.
Right.
So.
yeah, this is not anything they even sell anymore.
For prior board members, just so you know, it used to be done with a cassette player.
I was just gonna ask.
And the cassette player, the person transcribing could not mark it in places where they need to make notes. They couldn't hear the individual board members. Couldn't
they're
hear
This
the
takes it
button. was a
automatically into
nightmare.
the computer. I mean, it's already like not automatically, but it's
Storage of tapes was a huge issue, trying to retain tapes.
digitized.
Now everything goes digital on the computer, it backs up to the cloud, we're good.
Yeah, and unfortunately, right now the streaming is not a reliable backup as far as listening to meetings and be able to take minutes off of them, especially with when I get busy and then things don't come back or sound. So I can't
So
use
the
that as a
streaming's
backup
having
if it's-
issues too.
Well,
Well,
internet.
me and the streamer, yes. I mean, honestly, I'm running back and forth. Meetings start, and I have to handle the microphone, the recording microphone through the iPad. This is what Johnny was talking about. So meetings start, and I'm starting this, and I'm starting this, and I'm trying to get the notes, and then I forget to click the microphone. Or we go to break, and I have to move the camera off the boardroom, and then mute the microphone, and then we come back, and I have to do it all back and do the meeting recorder, and unfortunately, I've been messing up a
What, you're
couple
human?
times. I am human. My multitasking has reached its limits. But yeah, so as far as going back to the live stream to try to hear the meetings, it's not reliable. I mean, that's if this is the Wi-Fi is working correctly.
So basically, you're saying a couple times we didn't have the live streaming.
we didn't have sound on the live streaming.
Okay.
So if you go to listen back, there's no sound because
But we can help you with that
yeah,
by simply us slowing down, giving you that opportunity.
and
Well,
reminders.
Well,
And
Maybe
reminding
you
you,
can
I mean,
say
it's,
in
it's
here.
not, you know,
See, this used to be, this used to be,
okay, point of
this used to
order.
be only one job. Just board clerk, that was it. There wasn't all the recording devices, all that stuff to have to deal with. Now we have somebody who does a day job, handles
Okay.
all the contracts, as well as the meetings. So she's doing the job with two people right now and trying to keep it all together. That's why we're gonna have Cassandra come in and help do that.
Point of order.
What? I thought that was part
Oh.
of it.
Well, it
No.
was because I was saying that's why we definitely need a good, this type of recorder, because I don't always have the backup of the meeting stream.
Yeah.
So that was my point. Sorry. Tangent.
No, it's fine. It's just that we were putting that on the meeting for discussion later.
yes.
Oh,
And I don't
that's
wanna
right.
get bogged down in that, but I mean,
Right, and as
I,
soon as I have the
yeah, and I
well,
think that's, you know, we're all for, replacing, you know, the recorder, because
Yeah.
it served us well and we need to have a new one.
Yep.
do you want it as an agenda item as soon as I know the exact price, or do you want to just?
You could just do it in the administrative report. I think we can
I
approve
can
it.
just order it when we find
I
it.
think you
right?
should just
Yeah.
order
Just
it.
It's
order it.
within my budget, so I'll just order it when we find the right one.
Yeah.
Unless it's, you know,
I mean, if it's
Usually
all,
expensive.
if it's like $800 or $1,000, then maybe we should talk about it, but if
Right, no.
you know, I mean, if you're talking $500, I say we just,
500 or
we
over,
just,
yeah.
you know,
And make sure it's compatible to the Windows 10.
And
Which is, I'm trying to get Phillips to
Yeah.
give me answers, but yeah.
Unfortunately, they all have a racket going, and they all make you upgrade your computers, and they make you upgrade all your software to go with them. So
well,
it's just the way it works.
it's just like you used to have WordPerfect on your computer.
That's what I
Now
mean.
they want to charge you every month to be able to use it on your home computer.
Yeah. That's
And even if you had they had given it with a computer, now it's gone away.
Yep.
That's a whole.
Just like the earbuds and.
Anything else?
Getting
you-
you coming and going.
Yeah.
can I
That's it?
back up for 1 minute on the Cassandra, on the manager's report? I just wanted to have us think about a possibility while until the next meeting where it goes on the agenda. Is that okay
Yeah.
with you guys?
It's okay with me.
Okay, so I was just thinking that it's possible, you know, we have Cassandra coming in early still, right? Like the really early, where maybe we don't need her coming as early, and that would be one way of possibly, you know, having enough hours to cover her coming into the meeting. So maybe, I don't know, a couple days a week, or just come a little bit, you know, just.
I could talk to her about it. Just so you know, it's like when you guys brought it up with me. If somebody's willing to give up their nighttime, their part of their home life outside of work hours to do something, they may or may not want to do that. They may not want to change their work hours just so they could come in
I know, it's just.
in the evening time. I'll ask her, but Not everybody
I'm
wants to sit through a
asking
board meeting.
because those work hours were originally put in place to give her as a way of making a raise too.
I would really like for this to be on the agenda
Yeah.
so that we can discuss it at length instead of going here and there right now, because there's some things that I'd like to discuss and I don't want to.
Do it now, yeah.
Yeah.
It's- We gotta do it next time.
You want on the
I
second
I
meeting?
agree with you, Lisa.
Second meeting?
Yeah, because it's hopefully. Do you think how long do you think it's gonna take? Can we put it on the second meeting, or do we have to put it on the following month? Because I'd really like to see somebody.
Oh,
I'd like to see Tiffany have some help if she needs
Well,
help.
how's our second meeting looking? Yeah.
Okay, it's just.
I'm just trying to find a compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
think
second.
On the next meeting.
I'm all for compromise.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope, mine's.
Okay. Ad hoc, local water meetings. I don't think we had one.
We attended. Oh, you. Wait. Were you there? No, you were. What?
No, that was my birthday, and I did
You
not go.
weren't there. Okay, I attended.
I'm like,
So.
I don't remember. Yeah, I wasn't there.
Gosh, what did we talk about? Okay, so what they talked about was to kind of have these guests come in and talk to us, and at the same time, then like in between meetings, have a way of just being able to sort of digest the information that we've covered, and so not have people coming in time after time after time. We did have. My brain, it already seems like so long ago. Because it was so long ago.
It was 2.5 weeks
I
ago.
don't think, did we have a guest? So we had the previous meeting were you at the meeting with the sheriff?
Yes.
Okay, so we had the sheriff come in, and then basically what was told to us is it would be really helpful to have all of the different, the sheriff's department, the fire department, the CHP, all kind of coming in at the same time, and that way we have a way of talking to them at once, maybe coming up with some game plans of what to do in
Networking with them.
emergencies.
Well, yeah, the sheriff wants to talk to all parties because they need to get on. The government agencies need to get on the same page before they can come and now start talking to us.
No, but they suggested that we invite all of them together at
Yeah.
the same time to our meeting.
To
our
our local
meeting.
water.
Yes, our local water meeting, so that we're meeting with all of the agencies simultaneously. Right? Am I crazy? You were there?
Stan.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't, that was the meeting
That you
with
weren't
the
at.
tribesmen, I was not at.
Okay. So anyway, that was my understanding, is that we've been asked to coordinate all of them coming to a meeting. So
At that meeting or this
No.
meeting?
at that meeting.
Okay. At that
So that
Okay.
meeting of all the different water companies.
And I can tell you right now, that's not gonna happen. Cause when the sheriff was out, we've had him out, we've had the CHP out, and we've had the fire department out. And they have not wanted to come together.
That wasn't my understanding. So anyway, so
But that's
we'll,
a discussion for over there.
yeah,
Yes.
we'll deal with that. So that's basically what's happening. So we just kind of went back over some of the things that we had talked about emergency wise. I'm trying. I could have sworn there was somebody. There was a guest, and my brain's not working. I didn't bring my notes. I should have brought my notes.
Well, it's okay. Then we
So
can move
anyway,
on.
so yeah, we'll
Yeah.
move on.
And as far as I know, Sigma hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
And we haven't done anything with depreciation of assets.
Okay. Board training, take control of your meetings using the Robert rules.
Take control.
I guess I need to ask you, another thing for you to do. I cannot get to my account. Not your fault, not their fault. It's my stupidity. But can you print me out the Robert rules? I can't seem to get them.
Oh, those emails that I was
Uh-huh.
sending? Yeah, I can get that printed out.
Okay. I came in yesterday or something, and you were already gone, and but anyway.
Yeah.
I know that's not now another thing on your plate, sorry.
No. Okay.
But, okay, go ahead.
So if you were looking into those emails, the very last one in that series, it talked about a training class that was specially discounted in October. So I purchased that at the discounted price, and they're short segment videos. They run from about 5 to 8 minutes each, and I thought we could play them during a meeting because it's short and
Yeah.
it's not too much.
That's a good idea.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
So we have it. The only trick is I can't stream it because of copyright license stuff. So I'll just end up moving the camera while it plays and muting it, just a side note. Because then I'm taking a purchase thing and making it available to the public.
Right.
So,
So now you've turned everything off and you've moved the camera.
almost. Yes.
Well, the microphones are still on.
I'm going to leave the recorder
And
on.
the recorder's
Well,
on.
recorder can stay on because we won't on, but
The slides?
Not the slides, just a couple, the two documents she referred to, they have PDFs of.
Okay. Financials. No, Linda, so is there anything that you're aware of that we need to kind of know?
Well, so there's a couple notes on here. So one of them says the balance, Director Nyman was giving us the balance of 90 something, but after today's checks and the transfer, the balance in our normal accounts, our operating account will be $47,653.77. And that's after the checks. And then she says the bank charged an analysis service fee of $240.40 to the general fund. Pre-USDA number 1, why? $240?
What is this?
That's an awful lot
Analysis service fee of $240.
to the general fund.
Might be time to reach out to those people that are at the conferences that I gave Tiffany a card, but a lady keeps emailing me and they do
Per
banking for
USDA.
special
Loan
districts all
one,
the time
so
and get you better interest on your accounts. Like
Why
our
would they need to
USDA
charge
accounts and stuff.
240 as an analysis service fee to the general fund?
Because that's
Well, we were trying to do that.
we were, but nobody wanted to do business.
I
But
don't
now,
know. I don't
when I
know
go to
what
these
that is.
conferences and the one that Tiffany goes to, the people that work with special districts are there
What
promoting
point
their
of order?
product.
Are we in financials or
Yeah,
what?
that's
Yeah.
financial. Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
we're
what I'm
the accounts
saying.
payable.
Yeah.
because we need somebody that's not going to keep on charging this. It's like they hope we don't notice that they charge us these big
Well, I
fees.
think we need to go in
Thank
and
you.
say something
Again,
again.
for about the 25th time.
But this is a really large charge.
That's a
We've
big
never had one this big. We've had these like little piddly $20 here and $20 there, but 240
You want water or coffee?
is kind of crazy.
We got both.
Analysis service
Snacks right
fee.
there.
So yeah, I think we need
Yeah,
to
okay.
charge.
Well, and that's as of, so
Which, by the way,
she was
always
saying
just help yourself.
there would be $47,000. Let me just say this. Okay, this is as of September 30th. She's saying after the transfer of the $105,621.25 to the USDA
Oh, yeah.
payment fund, which is for our principal and interest of our loans, and after the checks, as of the balance, which was $173,587.14, we would have $47,000. $653.77.
Isn't that what I said?
Well, I'm
Yeah.
just making it clear.
Oh, because in
because
our
as of
financial
today-
year,
As of today, though, we have like 92,000 because we've continued to get money into the account. So the operating fund is in good standing. So,
Okay, and then the other note on here, she left her cell number in case we have any questions. And the other note on here is it says Association of Cal Water dues was down by $325, so we paid that and that was down. There is no answer for this.
there is an answer.
Oh, okay.
We
What
are
is
to go
this?
ahead and pay that.
what is that?
Okay, this is D. Jasper and Associates. We thought self-help was paying for this.
But no, that's well 5. That is going to be possibly covered in the loan
Erwin.
from the IRWIMP.
And it was approved by you guys to go ahead and proceed with the
To
well
proceed
5 stuff in the hopes
previously,
of
so we need to
reimbursement,
pay
so.
that.
Okay.
So,
I think last time we were trying to figure out if it was for well 5 or
So
what
our
exactly it
total-
was for.
our total cash.
It doesn't say, oh, it does say well
Yeah.
5 services.
So our total cash and cash equivalents is $1,678,983.92 as of September 30th
Right.
balance sheet.
Yeah.
So, and also she's put in here, she's given me, which I'll be making transfers to USDA replacement fund, I thought we had maxed out our replacement. No, we did the reserve. No, I'm confused now. She has 4 different things that need to be put in for
Yearly,
Yeah.
so.
yearly.
Right.
Well, one of them was maxed out.
But I thought we had maxed out the replacement fund.
Yeah, we were just doing the.
And this is something that we're gonna need
We
to.
haven't maxed it out on the last loan, but on the first 2, I thought we had.
Yeah. So, the question I think that Linda was bringing up was the fact that we took money out of the replacement fund because the state allowed us to take it out. So we don't have to replace that. Do we have to replace that money? That was the
I
question.
believe we do, yes.
Because we were able to spend the money, so now we have to continue to put money in.
Yeah, it's like a reserve, it's like a bank account for if we run into problems and we don't have it, but it's also a guarantee that we always have money
Okay, here's
to
the
be able
note.
to.
If we do not take into account the telemetry expenses,
Telemetry.
we are short $11,746 in the replacement funds. Otherwise, we've met the minimum requirement by $9,000. So in other words, because we took out that money.
Right, there's nothing that I've read in the bond that says that we stop paying, because we took it out of the second loan, the loan 6. Loan 6,
That's
loan
just so
3,
confusing.
loan 4, yeah. We took it out of the second USDA replacement, right? Because that was the telemetry. I hope we took it out of that one. So because there's 2, well actually they both go into the same. Okay, so here's where it's weird. We rolled both of them into the same fund. So we took out theoretically the money that's always guaranteed from the second loan, but it actually just takes money out, period, because both of them, what you do is you fill your reserve, and when your reserve's full, it bounces over to a replacement. So on the first 2 loans, we completed our requirements for the reserve, and then we were still putting money in for the replacement. On the second loan, it's actually the third loan, but the second USDA grant loan, we are still meeting the requirements for both the reserve
Okay.
and the replacement.
Here, okay, this should make it more clear looking at this sheet, which you all have this sheet.
What's the title of it?
It's FPPUD outstanding transfers to be made.
Oh, okay, this is on the front one.
Okay, so what she's saying is what we're required to have in the account is $105,654.95.
In which account? Cause I got
In
1, 2, 3, 4.
in the replacement fund. In the USDA replacement fund. Okay?
Loan number 6.
So if you look up at the top, you see reserves and you see replacements. And you have loan 3, okay?
Okay,
We need to have in loan 3 $7,535.22. Loan 4 is $18,879.73. Loan 6 is $79,240, which, so the required amount for the replacement is $105,654.95. The bank balance that we currently have is $93,908.30. So we're
I think this is incorrect. My understanding, I could be wrong, my understanding is that there is not a cap like that on the replacement fund that on the second loan. On the first loan, basically what it said in the bond papers is that we fill the reserves to a certain point, And at the 10-year mark, anything beyond that point goes into the replacement. On the second loan, my understanding was that we have an amount that's set that we pay continually into the reserve, which she has, and that we pay continually into the replacement. But she's saying there's a cap on the replacement, but I'm not sure that that's correct.
Okay, well, anyways, I'm just gonna go ahead and put in these, transfers that she's got here, and we'll have to discuss it more when she gets back.
Well, okay, so let me just look at
They're
this.
saying
So
I
for
heard nothing to wait 2 weeks,
the
right?
operating
No,
account to the USDA
Because none of them are due
replacement
until November first,
fund
or
917.
money has to be there November first. So then you're wanting to add up all these numbers?
So, okay, so number one definitely should be correct because we need to do an automatic transfer every month for a certain amount that
Every
goes
month?
into every
Yes,
month.
this is a
Because
monthly.
what we did, it's really a yearly, but
Okay.
we voted to do it monthly in order to not have this huge amount
Spread
that
it
we
out.
transfer yearly. So she broke it down to a monthly amount. So on the first two loans, so loan number 3 and loan number 4.
So every month we pay,
164.28 is loan number 3, which he would be setting up an automatic transfer until 10/31/20 of 164.28, and then the second one would be the automatic transfer for the replacement
Loan-
fund for loan number 4, which also
And
looks
number
correct.
4 would be the one for loan number 6. Number 3 is for the reserve, which is for loan number 6, because we've met the requirements for loans number 3 and 4.
No, that's not correct. Loan 3 and 4, we've met the requirements for the
Reserve.
Yeah,
For
for
the
the reserve,
reserve.
but not the replacement.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You're not listening to what I'm
Okay,
saying,
I'm
because
sorry.
number 3 is for loan number 6 reserve. So, okay, I know what we have to do. We'll put these in for the
Okay,
year.
can you hold on a second? Can I just double check it? Operating account, so the reserve, that's correct, and the replacement fund, yeah, she wrote this incorrectly up here. She's saying that we need to pay both on loan 6, which is correct,
Right.
and not
Well,
both
she
on
just
loan-
broke this stuff out, and what she's saying is the telemetry expenses, was 21,000, so we need to replace that. Or there's nothing in the bond that says we have to replace it because they authorized us to take it, but we'll continue to do it to meet the.
But what I'm saying is, I think that requirement may be the final requirement on replacement. We need to look at.
We need to
Make
look
sure
at that.
that's
Yeah,
correct.
yeah,
On
we'll have to
loan
look at that.
6,
Okay.
not
So,
on loan.
Anyhow, I make a motion that we pay our bills.
I didn't even look at all the other bills, but that's okay. Did somebody else look at these
I did.
besides?
Oh,
Well, I think if none of us are
Okay.
looking at it but you, how is it that we're making a
okay, that's why I
consensus
left
on
them there.
this?
Go ahead and take the time to look
Okay.
at them.
I mean, really, we should all be looking
Right.
at these every time,
Yeah.
as much as we can.
So while you're looking at that, I'm going to go to the restroom.
Why don't you go to the restroom while we're looking at it?
do you wanna pause?
No.
Only if it's on break. If it's not on break.
No, we're not on a break. I'm just separating them into the.
Anybody want any water?
Yes, I would like some,
One, two.
please.
What if something really juicy happens? Wake me up.
I think there's some snacks in the kitchen.
I did. I brought some pies.
Oh, God bless you.
Okay. So the bills for, and she wrote, that's what that note was for, the bills for, the Association of California Water Agency is really high, but she wrote that it's $300 less than normal, but it's $5,530, just so you know.
Who?
for the Association of California Water Agencies is $5,530.
Holy moly, for
And
that,
she
what do we
says
get?
it's $300 under what we paid last year.
What do we
so
get
Yeah,
for
just
that's,
so you
that's
know.
for Aqua. They're the ones that are in conjunction with JPIA, and they do all of the lobbying and
Yeah,
Sacramento
so
and
three,
all that.
So that
down
goes
by
to buy our,
$325.
yeah, another patch on the jackets.
That's
Yeah.
not JPIA. Aqua
Aqua has their
JPIA
own.
is $7,654.68. That's for our joint powers insurance, but that's actually covering the insurance for all of our employees, as far as I know.
Yes.
Understand?
That's a month?
Yes,
Yes,
it's
that's-
per month, $7,654.
That's your medical insurance, that's your
Not mine.
dental, well, that's the medical, dental, and
So I don't know
insurance
if
for
does
the
anyone
employee.
else want to look at this. So the Association of California Water Agencies, which is also Aqua. I mean, that's correct. So last year it was $5,855. This year it's $5,530. That's our membership dues, and then the other one is to
Okay,
actually
so that
pay.
one's a yearly.
That one's a yearly membership dues, and then the other one is the monthly
$7,000 a month.
health insurance and all that stuff. So, I'm okay with it.
I make a motion that we pay our bills.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah,
500, motion carried, pay our bills.
There.
Okay, do we want a brief recess or keep going?
I say we keep going.
Okay. Continue discussion vote on the re-vote on continuing with previously approved rate increase schedule for January 2020.
Oh, we did
So
that
that's
last,
when-
we
that's
did that
when
No,
last
it's a
week.
No, we gotta
that's what you missed at the last.
because we we have to look.
These need to go to some
It-
a couple of weeks.
Oh.
Okay, because we
It's
had
not
to,
here.
okay. Tiffany,
Oh,
Yeah.
so interesting. I did a webinar. The lady who just was on the
Don't
training.
sign yours.
I had a webinar on Wednesday, and I was able to ask her, is there such thing as a motion to dissolve a motion? Because we just haven't done it, so I wanted to check parliamentary wise. There's actually 3 ways to bring a motion back. You can either amend a previous motion, you can rescind a previous motion, or you can reconsider a motion. So that's the 3 ways to do it. I think in this way, it depends how you choose to do it. You can either rescind it, so go back and remake the whole motion, or you could just, it wouldn't be him, it's everybody, amend his motion, so he
In
originally
which
said to
case,
say
he and the
20.
seconder needs to, right?
No, because the motion belongs to the group, so once the motion maker makes it, it's no longer that person's motion, it's the group's motion. So you don't need a maker and a seconder on that one. But if he wants to amend it, that's one way to do it. It's a motion to amend your motion. And then you
I think
could,
that's what we were trying to do last week, and then we're like, oh,
Well,
maybe
we
we
didn't have it on the
didn't know it,
agenda.
yeah.
okay.
so that's, if you wanna amend it to not include
Yeah, we
twenty
don't, I don't
twenty-one,
have
if
the
you just
paper.
wanna make it for,
Okay,
Where-
then you can.
so I
do
have
it
to
that
make,
way.
so I have to make a motion to amend this one.
If that, yeah, if that's what you're
Yeah, well,
choosing
that's,
to do. Yeah,
to,
What is the wording? Can you read the wording of the original motion?
it's in your minutes, if you.
It's
Yeah,
on
under
page
what-
5 of the minutes,
page 11.
Can someone read that?
I think.
Oh, it's under 11, okay.
Isn't it under 11?
It's
Yeah,
on page 5 of September 12th.
oh,
the minutes.
okay. For the minutes.
I think.
Oh, okay.
I was just asking if someone would read it aloud to the group.
Oh,
Okay, hold
Okay.
on a second. Where are we at?
the motion was, that, Director Nyman right?
Okay.
That you
Oh.
moved that we delay the current rate increase for 2020 for a year. In a year, that increase will be what was originally for the 2020 rate increase, and we will check with the attorney to ensure that that's proper within the law.
So we
So,
know
you
all
want to-
that now. I'd rather see us rescind the motion and make a new motion
You can do that too.
Okay,
But it's his, so does he
if you're
have to do it?
willing.
Makes
Yes.
it cleaner.
okay, so. How do I,
Move
Great.
to rescind the motion made on September 12th.
I move to rescind the motion made on September 12th, that we delay the current rate increase for 2020 for a year. In a year, that increase will be what was originally for 2020 increases, and we will check.
No, all you're doing is rescinding the
Okay.
motion. We vote on rescinding the
Okay,
motion,
okay.
and then you make a new
Yeah.
motion.
Okay, I rescind the motion made on September 12th, 2019 regarding the increase.
And you're saying you don't need an okay from the seconder? There is no seconder for
That-
when you rescind?
Is never a thing.
That's weird. I've been doing that wrong.
So-
for a very long
Okay,
time.
all in favor of rescinding the motion from September 12th?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye,
and you
You weren't here.
abstain since you weren't here.
401.
No, he was
Okay.
here.
You was here for that
He
meeting.
was, yeah.
I abstained on that
Oh,
last
yeah,
motion too.
they both.
Right, but
abstained.
you don't, it
Still vote
doesn't
to
matter
rescind.
what you voted on that,
On
now
the
you're
motion.
voting to
To-
rescind. It doesn't
to
even mean
rescind
that
that
you need
motion.
to vote yes on the new motion. You're just voting to rescind the old motion, which you were abstaining from in the first place, so you can either, because you had issues with it, so you can certainly vote to rescind it. Because it just makes it go away. Then he makes a new motion.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried 500.
Okay,
Now,
now,
make a new motion.
This one you would
Or
abstain.
we can
Again, if you
On-
continue discussing it or whatever.
I don't do the
You can
resolution. Do I put the resolution number in there?
No,
Uh,
that's the next item.
Oh, that's
the
a
next
different one.
Okay,
Yeah, we're still,
okay, I make a motion that, we, delay the increase scheduled for January 1st, 2020. And we'll revisit,
Period, right? We're just delaying.
Yeah, but if he wants to revisit
Oh,
it next year.
yeah, okay.
and we will revisit next year to see if we increase it for the final year. According to Prop 218.
okay.
Do I hear
I'll
some-
second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay.
Okay, motion carried.
Motion carried 3-0. Uh, 11.
So can I just say something else on this? I would like to carry this discussion over to the next regular meeting, because obviously it's not really a clear conscience of the group if there are three, yes,
Split.
yes, it passed, however, I think that we may want further discussion, even though it passed.
It's passed. It's done.
Passed.
I know, it's
So
just.
there's no more discussion. It's done.
We'll revisit
We're
it
not
next year.
revisiting this
We
motion,
can discuss
we're
it
just
then.
revisiting the idea of why in other words, I would like the board members who said nay to be able to speak more clearly to, which they didn't really have the opportunity to do, because
They
it was.
They had the
the
opportunity.
last
They
They
had
didn't
the
do it.
opportunity at the last
You did?
meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
You felt like you had enough?
I spoke on it extensively.
Okay, then, never mind.
But thanks, Lisa.
Okay. We'll talk about it in
That
another
must have been
year.
when I took a little nap
Okay.
with my eyes open.
11, discussion and vote on resolution FP
Oh, also before we move on,
2019.
we should let the paper know that the rate increase was delayed.
Yeah, it's really important to put that in the
So,
paper.
so that's in the paper, so people realize that we've delayed.
Yes, Tiffany.
Just a question. Are you gonna want a mailer on it, or just have it in the paper?
I don't think we need to do a mailer
We-
because we're not increasing, we're holding, so I don't think that it needs to be, I think people can read about it in the paper, and most people are not gonna argue that we didn't increase their rates.
I think you'd get a lot more bang for your buck if you did the mailer though. I think that if you're not gonna increase rates, you should make as big a deal out of it as you can to make everybody know, because not everybody reads the newspaper.
I know,
hear that
they
all the
Oh,
time.
no, it's gonna spread like wildfire.
Bad news always spreads way faster than good news.
Well, I just hate to spend $1,000 of their money
Right,
to
that's
tell
cool.
them, or more than 1,000. I mean, when we do the mailers, it's pretty expensive, right? It's a couple $1,000,
No, it's about 700.
700.
Somewhere around
I
there.
thought it was more than that because we have to pay for
Yeah, I
folding
thought it was like
and
15.
mailing.
Well, you already said I can't have it folded anymore, so we'd be doing it in-house, but it's fine with me not doing it, I just thought you guys would want the.
I think if we put it in the paper, it's sufficient. I think people will I think,
Are we able to put a one tiny blurb on the actual bill, because we've done that in the past before, so it could say at the very bottom of the bill,
no rate increase.
no rate increase for this year,
It-
or the
For
rate.
2020.
It
Something
depends
that
on whether
makes
she
sense.
has available lines
Space.
on her. Yeah.
Yeah.
They give you only a certain amount of lines, and
Yeah.
depending
Can,
if they're
can,
used
can
or
we
not.
look at that and see?
It's possible to put on the back. She prints on the back. There's a bill back.
You're putting it on the back now? I didn't
Yeah,
know
she
that.
puts the payment methods now on the back of the postcards,
Oh, okay.
so she could do it on the.
Or we could put, can we look at it and see what's on the front right now? Because on the front we did have, I think, just the base rate or something.
Yeah, I mean it's just a really tiny.
It's a
print.
one line
Nobody
thing.
can even read it.
Anyway, yeah, I'd like to see it on the front, but if we can't do it on the front, then yeah, I guess on the back. But I think we should put it on the bill. Just a one sentence, saying that that it's been delayed, or however we feel that the best way to put it. Actually, it would be whatever the wording of the motion, the resolution is. What's the wording in the resolution?
Just the rate increase,
Delay.
It's gotta be
You use
really
delay.
You know, you're really limited to words.
No, I know it's short, but I'm just saying, what's the wording in the resolution?
He used
It's in
delay.
here, right?
just
He used
rate
delay.
increase delayed
Delay the rate increase.
till 2021. Till January 2021. It's simple.
Oh, so it could just say district voted to delay rate increase until January 1st, 2021.
Yeah, that's too, I think that's getting too long.
Whatever,
okay, district
whatever you
voted to
can do,
delay
make it succinct,
January 1st
succinct,
rate
and
increase.
I trust that you'll make it so it's understandable and succinct, and,
Yes, I
and
agree.
we trust you, we trust your judgment.
Do we all?
Is everybody in agreement with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
11, discussion and vote on resolution FP 2019-0110-01, resolution to amend the Prop 218 rate increase schedule.
So this is
Okay. Can you send this over for the third
This is-
signature?
The
this was
Fixed.
both options. So basically, based on his motion, the red would disappear. So it's just the black you're paying attention to, the black red. 'Cause we're
You're
not
talking about
doing
in the square.
Okay, so we make a motion to approve the resolution. So I read the resolution. Is that what I say? What do I do?
Are you making
yeah,
a motion
be-
or just reading it?
if in the motion you would say that yes, you're moving to approve resolution number blah blah in the matter of amending the Prop 218 rate increase schedule.
Now, are you going to
I don't
leave
have,
that September 12th in there?
no,
That's
that's
oh,
been
that's
rescinded.
gotta change because it was rescinded.
Yeah, so that's you gotta change that,
So
so
it's gonna say
Good
October 10th.
catch.
October 10th. Okay, I make a motion that we approve resolution number FP-2019-1010-01 in the matter of amending the Prop 218 rate increase schedule, whereas on October 10th, 2019, the Board of Directors of the Fraser Park Utility District voted to delay the rate increase schedule for January 1st, 2020 until January 1st.
No, because the red wouldn't go
Don't read the red.
in
Okay,
there.
scheduled for January 1st, 2020, and whereas due to the aforementioned vote, there is a need to amend the rate increase schedule as previously adopted per resolution FP-2016-0915-01. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Fraser Park Public Utility District base charge for the 2020 calendar year will be as follows. And it has the meter size and base charge for 2020 schedule. Further resolve, the Fraser Park Public Utility District usage rate for the 2020 calendar year will be as follows. And the, per 1,000 gallons or 100 cubic feet,
I'll second that.
2020, okay?
I'm sorry, I was still reading.
She seconded.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Motion carried 4-1-0.
Okay.
Well, discussion and vote on new well projects. Discussion and vote on, project PER. You get that? Well, that's what, that came in during the middle of the meeting. And they were needing this at, self-help for the application, right?
I know Dave was gonna read it and give his comments, but I haven't heard his yet.
I think before we approve this, we need Dave to also put his 2 cents in, so
His input is always,
I'm weary of, doing now, what will this hold us?
This is gonna hold us up
Up?
for our application for the well, cause this is for well 5, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have the contracts either.
Yeah, because he still hasn't done the contract with Tulare for the Irwin, right? So
Yeah,
until,
but this is what's holding us from putting in the application for well 5.
no, his contract is also holding us up.
Both of
putting in
them.
the application for well
I think
5.
it's all of it.
So
So you do
right
both
now, until
together.
he has the contract with Tulare, and until we approve those. So does
Well,
he doesn't have the contract with Tulare yet, right?
No, not that I heard.
Because otherwise, if we,
No, Dave needed the PER to put in for the application. He didn't need, that's for the Irwin money. The one that needs the contract for Irwin money is Dave. We didn't have to have the contract,
I believe that is correct. I believe.
and we just needed the PER approved so we could go for the loan grant funding. And he can't put in the loan grant funding application until we approve this PER.
and Dave didn't give you any.
Well, I've looked at it a
comments?
lot, so what I would recommend is.
I recommend we approve it,
Dependent on Dave not having any, changes, you could, with minor amendments, you could.
with
do
minor
it.
amendments.
Because if it's something small and not a major deal that Dave has input on, it would still be passed. I've looked over a couple of times and there's, you know, in my-
I have to apologize. I know this was our homework and I didn't.
Wait. If this is for well 5, why does it have to do with the smart meter thing?
This has
No,
nothing to
it's
do
just-
with the smart meter thing. What do you,
Well, as I'm thumbing through here, I got a smart meter thing. And so I was wondering what that had to do with
Smart
this.
meter thing should be behind 14. Maybe just.
Oh, well, maybe I got
Oh, you
somebody
got an
else's.
extra smart meter thing, that's what I,
Okay, because I'm like, what has this got to do with this?
yeah, that one's for 14.
So, is anybody missing their smart meter thing?
Are these correct? Do we know these are correct? The principal, the loan amount, the principal payments?
well, that's what we've provided.
This is principal. 5,000 interest payment, 15 total debt. I feel like this is wrong, but the replacement requirement does not look correct. That's per year? It doesn't say per year. Yeah, I guess it is, so I guess it just assumes that each of these is per year.
Since it's going to the USDA, they'll have that current information there.
It says down there, it says, 5,000 per year, total debt service.
Where?
If you look below the schedule, it says districts may currently the following payments for debt service reserve. It says line 3, 4, and 6. And then it shows per year.
On just the principal payment, but not the other ones.
Well, no, it has replacement requirement in there. If you see, it says principal payment, interest payment, that's the total debt service, which is 18,000, plus replacement requirement in 19. So the total reserves from loan 3 is 27,000 a year, and 4 is 70,000, and it's 131,000.
Yeah, I'm just saying it doesn't say per year, but okay. So, but that would be a small thing that they could fix.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess,
I make a
I'm
motion.
okay, if it's in
Okay.
principle, if the motion is approving this in principle, I think the word I want.
I make a motion that we approve the well 5 emergency replacement project preliminary engineering report with the possibility of an amendment for minor changes from Dave of Self-Help
And us.
and us.
like that per year, cause I wanna ask them about that.
I will second it.
All in favor?
I,
So then we'll just carry this over to the next rate.
So,
next,
so,
Right,
no,
but
what, you should just
if he
contact.
says it's good, then he could just send it
If he says
if he
it's,
needs to. If not, then we'll be bringing it back to you at the next meeting, correct? As if he said it.
yeah, just ask them about the,
because we keep delaying and delaying and delaying and delaying. This is now a month of delays now, over a month of delays of just getting in the application, which delays.
Wanna ask him about the USDA replacement stuff, right?
yeah, just,
I mean, how's he gonna know that? He doesn't know, where.
I need to.
Well, it is per year, but
Reserve and replacement account, the current debt service. He lists it in a different spot.
well, it just says per year, and then you see the total. You could assume that it's the total on each one, and how much per year. I mean, it's pretty clear.
What page was that breakdown on?
Well, it breaks down
14.
twice. There's 14 of 26, but then it does it again.
If you go on 25
on
of 26,
25.
25
This
of
is what I was
26,
talking
I don't
about.
know.
the district currently makes the following payments for debt service reserve. So the total reserves, because it says per year, he didn't put, but it's kind of clear. I mean, it's, so the total reserve amount is 27,000.
559.
But that total reserve is not per year. So see what I'm trying to say? Like, the interest payment is per year. The replacement requirement is, but like he
That's
says
per
it
year.
correct here. No, but the total reserve amount is what it is currently, but that's not per year. It's gonna change. So that,
Well, the only one that's per year is the one that's listed as per year, and if it doesn't say per year, we assume that it's not per year.
Then she's saying then the others
I'm
need to say
saying that
per
that's
others.
not correct.
Well, how else are you gonna denote that?
That the ones that are per year, like interest payment is definitely a per year, but total reserves is not a per year. He just left off, some of those should say per year and some of them shouldn't. Total reserves shouldn't.
So we need clarification on that.
It needs
on
to be
page 25,
clarified,
he has
page
to clear it up.
25, and it needs to match page 14.
And if he makes those, if he
The-
defines
I-
that clearly, are you good with him sending
I
it if
don't
he
know
needs
because
to?
I didn't read everything as carefully as I should have, but I will, can you let me know if he says that there's nothing else, and I will try to look at this more, and if I have any additional changes, also let you know, like, in the next day.
Well, not the next day.
Well, because when are you gonna
Monday.
hear from, by Monday?
Yeah.
Can you read it all the way through multiple times? You read it?
Pretty much.
Okay, you read it.
Yeah, twice,
Okay.
and then now a third time.
Okay, on page 14, it says USDA Reserve and Replacement Account. The current debt service is approximately
I know, they just have to
18,000.
match.
612.50, okay, with an annual, it should be replacement payment of approximately $2,000.
So I'll let him go over those two pages.
Yeah, there's
and-
some problems
and
here.
you
Yeah.
find it.
It's got wrong words and wrong things.
Oh, really? I could go.
So-
I could go back to D. Jasper and have him.
Yeah,
D should fix that
yeah,
and make it match with what
So
it's really
reserve should
supposed
be
to say. Yeah, because
replacement.
we're not putting in the reserve.
with
we're
an
going for
annual,
loan
it
for.
should be with an annual replacement payment of approximately 5,200.
Right.
And then on number 3, the same thing. It should be with an annual reserve payment of it should be with an annual replacement payment of approximately
Well,
7.
and number
And I'm
3
confused.
number 3 is supposed to have both a reserve and a replacement payment. Number 1 and 2 are supposed to just have a reserve payment, and he doesn't have that. He has I mean, a
Okay.
replacement. So number 1 should only have a replacement. Number 2 should only have a replacement. Number 3 should have a reserve and a replacement.
Okay, so we're gonna have to hold off on sending this even back to D until you get a chance to go over and spell that out, because they're not gonna understand our loan requirements like that. Know what I mean? So if you can just go over it and make the notes on there, it's gonna make it easier for them to make those corrections and changes.
Okay, wait a second. Let's go over this one at a time. And, okay, it says
What page are
USDA
you on?
reserve. Okay,
Page
if you
14.
look on page 14, number 1, and if you look at page 25, now, number 1, which is $400,000 loan, which is loan 3, okay? He says the current debt service is approximately $18,000, which is correct, because if you look on there, it's your principal payment and your interest payment.
Yeah, I didn't say that
So
wasn't
that's correct. And then it has a replacement, so where we're gonna change that is a
With an
replacement
annual
payment,
replacement payment.
of approximately $2,000. Because if you look at the replacement requirement, it's
It's
1970.
supposed to say replacement and not reserve. Is what it
Correct.
is.
Right,
On
right,
that page.
right. Now,
On the other
okay,
page,
now,
on 25.
but
though-
it's clear. If
Yeah,
it's-
and 25,
Clear
it
as
just,
mud.
it shouldn't say per year under total reserves.
So
But it should
number
say
2
per
and 3
year
are
under-
fine on page 14, right? Not
I
to
think what
touch
they
on
need
it,
to
I
do-
just
I
need
think-
to clarify.
The
No.
replacement
I think what they
instead of
need to
reserve.
do
Number
is
2 is
like,
wrong also.
they need to tab over and put the total replacement.
So reserve has
A
got to
total
be taken out
reserve
on
a
each
little
one of
more.
these 3 loans.
Right, and it's
No.
gotta say, and it has, yes, it does.
No, not on number 3. On number 1 and number 2, yes. On number 3, reserve and replacement should be there.
No,
And
you're,
number
no,
wait,
wait, you're.
Stop, Lisa,
Okay.
please, I'm getting frustrated, okay, because
I'm getting lost.
Because if you look at this, you have principal payment and interest payment, right? So that's your total debt service, and that's what it's saying on number 3. It says the current debt service is approximately this much, okay? With an annual, and it should be a replacement payment of approximately $7,815.
No,
Wait,
because-
wait a second. Then the current total reserve amount is the total reserve amount, and when he's talking about reserve amount, he's talking about the total amount for that particular loan. We have to put away $131,000 a year between the principal, interest, and replacement.
But we're not just doing replacement on that loan. If you look at what you're supposed to pay from Linda, we're also doing reserve. So if you look on the last loan, go look at your paperwork right now that you're gonna put into the bank from Linda. Look at your,
Okay,
pull that
okay,
paperwork right now.
so he needs to add a line in here.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, so,
Can you make those notes on your copy? It's gonna make it a lot simpler.
Can I
You're
have
the
that?
loan expert on the thing.
Where's the paperwork from Linda?
I'll have to make the
It's in
changes
here.
according to what you're saying, and then that'll simplify things.
okay, so just look at number 3.
So number 1 is supposed to be annual replacement.
Right.
Which is, let's just double check it, which is $2,000. So if you times 164.28 times 12, it should be about 2,000, and it gives the exact amount on page 25.
Was it 164.28 times 12?
164.28
Yeah,
times 12.
1971.36.
Okay, let's just see if this is 1971.36 on page 25.
It's-
No, it's 1979-17.
1979, what are you saying it should be?
Well, it's 164.28, right?
Yeah, 164.28 is
That
what,
should be
what we're putting in.
1,971.36.
971.
So either she's
1971.
wrong or this is wrong. But the approximate's fine. That's close. So
Right.
and then the total reserves amounts is approximately 27,560. So that would be, let's see if that's correct.
And you add up all of those
Loan
others.
3, she has reserves as
Okay.
19.
So you want to, here, let me add that other part up.
So you got the 5,000.
1971.36 plus 18.
Wait, where you get 1971-36?
That was the replacement requirement on loan number 3 that we
Okay,
just did.
then,
That
okay.
you just corrected over
The total
here.
debt then is 18,612.
Okay, wait a minute. Approximately.
I'm trying to give you the total
18.
amount on that page.
Point 50.
Approximately 2,000. Okay.
I'm not sure cents is gonna matter at this point, we're talking.
806.39.
Big numbers.
Well, this isn't this.
It doesn't
Well,
add
it
up.
doesn't add up.
Yeah.
it's-
So either Linda's wrong or this is wrong, but wherever they got their numbers from, they don't add up.
Well, because shouldn't it be the 18,000 plus the replacement amount is the total reserve amount?
The
Is-
the total reserve amount, no, the total reserve amount would be what we're putting into the reserve and the replacement.
Yeah, but
So-
we're not putting anything into the reserve
correct.
anymore.
So it should only,
So
it
the
should
total
be
amount should be the
19
replacement and the debt service. So it's actually less.
No, it shouldn't be debt service because debt service isn't what's in the reserve. Debt service is what we actually pay. The reserve is the reserve. So debt service is what we're paying per
Okay,
year.
let me-
Reserve is what's in the bank.
Hold on. Sorry.
So it's a little, it's a
Well,
little confusing. We need to add up those numbers. So here's what I'd like to do. Can we just meet separately so we're not taking the whole board hostage and trying to figure this out?
Thank you, Becky.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
like on Monday? Like when do we meet for when is our meeting that's the
Next
ad
Thursday.
hoc?
Next Thursday.
Okay, so I would recommend that we hold it off until Thursday when we meet because Dave will be there, Oscar will be there, I'll be there, you'll
Right.
be
Hopefully,
there,
Dee will be there,
Dee will be there.
we hope.
And in the meantime, you and I should try to like look
But
at
we'll
this.
have to go on after we have the call with the state.
Yes, after
then-
the call with the state,
Okay. Yeah.
because I
And then
think
I'm
that
leaving for 4 days.
Where you going?
I'm going to Buellton.
Good.
To hang out
so.
with some
Okay.
And
friends.
that gives me
5 of
until
us are getting
Thursday to
together.
read this other stuff because I tend to catch a lot of stuff in these.
Rented a cabin.
I'm just gonna say
That's good.
that I
Okay.
do. So.
That's good.
Okay, do you wanna revote now? Because I never finished the vote,
We didn't?
no?
Oh, so
Yeah,
all
we
this.
did. We said.
I didn't vote.
Oh.
Wait
You
a
guys started
minute. So
talking.
can we? Okay, but we have to vote on it with. But what's the wording of the motion right now?
You rescind?
It was
No.
with the possibility of amendments, and I got a 5-0 because she called the vote.
I didn't vote,
Then you're gonna have to start calling roll call votes if
okay?
you're gonna, yeah.
Well, because
I
I was.
thought you said 500
No,
though.
I didn't,
I
I
mean-
didn't say the motion carried,
Oh.
because you guys started talking and I didn't get to say anything.
Okay, can I just, is it clear in the motion currently, because we can still vote on it again, but is the motion currently clearly stated in a way that this can be, because that's what I was trying to do, I was trying to adopt it in
Well,
Ju-
with you
principle,
guys
but
making amendments
with
and
us.
Dave making amendments.
correct.
Minor amendments.
Shouldn't it be worded exactly like you do when you approve regular minutes?
No, because on the minutes, we only word it for like typing,
Typos.
spells, typos and stuff, this
You
is way
said
more than
minor,
typos.
small.
This is
Yeah.
amendments.
Cool.
Bigger amendments. So, can you, I think it's good enough. Can you just read the motion one more
I
time?
don't have it word for word. I won't
Oh.
have that till I go on the recording.
Oh.
Well, I made it with amendments for us, for minor amendments, and that's a minor amendment. So we
It-
want.
If you consider it a minor amendment.
Well, the
you'll be able to
content
make
is still the
changes.
same, it's just the wording right now that you're worried about. So
Correct.
the content is still effectively
Right.
the
I
same.
mean,
We're
I don't know
just-
if I'm gonna find anything else in the
we're just-
content, but hopefully not. I mean, in
This is
principle, it's correct.
this is for the figures.
Yeah.
Right. I'm okay with, because I think that motion left enough room for us to make, like, you know, if he has 1,400 and it should be 1,308 on the number of connections or something, it still leaves room for us to, it leaves room for us to change enough little stuff. Basically, the PER itself, though, has all the parts to it, so we're basically moving that this is okay, except for some small changes that Dave or the ad hoc may make.
Can you call this thing a draft rather than the final document?
No, it has to be final because we can't put in until,
Because it goes to the state.
because we have to be able to.
It's a draft right now.
Right, but we're approving it with some minor changes so that we can go ahead and.
How about we rescind the motion and we move that we,
Okay, I rescind the motion that I just previously
You
made.
have to make a motion to rescind a motion.
I make a motion to rescind the previous motion. Do we hear a second?
but did we actually vote on the previous motion? I don't know. I'm so
Give me a
confused.
sec. There may be a way to go back. I can actually pull up the meeting stream on my phone,
Okay.
I believe, and go back as it's, and be able to hear it again, possibly. I might be able to do that. Cause I can't stop the recorder and I can't change this, but I might be able to. If you wanna hear it, yeah.
Because I was gonna say that you can move that after we have that meeting, that you're principally okay with it, but that we could do a final approval. From the ad hoc, it would have to be from.
Well,
the
why
ad
don't I
hoc.
just rescind the motion?
Because it's gonna be a standing committee, right? Are we gonna have to change it into a standing committee? No. So then it is an ad hoc, then we can't make decisions
not
as
an
an
ad
ad
hoc.
hoc. That's what I'm saying, is it a standing committee?
No, it's option 3. It's not a standing committee and it's not an ad hoc.
Is
She'll
the
get to that
committee
on
allowed,
Thursday.
Get it.
is the committee allowed to make?
No.
No, so
You're
then
not gonna
we
make
can't,
decisions,
then
you're
we
not gonna
can't
make
do that,
recommendations.
because if it was a standing committee, we could, but as a non-stand, no, so never mind.
What's a sitting committee right now?
Yeah.
I got it. Okay, I'm going back. I just want to see if it's
So
possible.
then I don't
for
know
me
if
to
we
do
need to rescind it, or maybe it's just fine, whatever, and we just need, I just don't know if we voted on it or not.
New glasses?
Is there cheese or something in there,
No,
it's just fruit,
There's
Yeah.
fruit and cookies and,
Cheaters?
protein
I
of any kind? I'm
Take a break,
going
will
there
ya?
for 1 second while we're looking at that.
This is going to be a really weird feedback.
Buellton, huh?
May I ask a
Yeah.
question during this sort of long?
Friend of mine, he
Yeah.
rented a,
If we can answer it.
My impression is only
okay,
my
she's got it
impression.
right here.
quiet, quiet.
Hang on.
I don't know.
I will, can you let me know if he says that there's nothing else, and I will try to look at
I don't know if it was before or after
any
this.
additional changes also, but you know, like, on the next day.
Next day.
Well, because when I get here from, by Monday. It was before then. You read it.
Is it? Okay, I'll rewind it.
Pretty much.
I thought it was.
Okay, on page 14, it says USDA reserve and replacement.
You think before this?
Yeah, it was before that. Way before that.
Isn't it easier just to say, I'm gonna rescind that?
We
and
can't
remake-
rescind something we didn't vote on.
Well, we voted, but she didn't vote.
She didn't call the,
DP.
Yeah.
I said, how many yays?
so you did say how many years.
And there was 4, and then I was gonna say,
Well, then the motion was voted on, whether regardless of whether you said something or not. If there were 4, then the motion was voted on.
That's a majority either way, even if you were to
Yeah.
say nay,
So
it passed.
I think we just need to
I
hear
made-
the motion. I don't think we need to rescind it. I think we just need to hear the motion.
See if it's after this. How far?
think before we approve this, we need Dave
sorry, what was that?
also put his 2 cents in. So I'm weary of doing that. Now, what will this hold us?
This is gonna hold us up for our
So the contract with Polaris from. Because otherwise, if we.
You know, Dave needed the PER to put in for the application. He didn't need, that's for the Irwin's money. The one that needs the contract for Irwin's money is Dave. We didn't have to have the contract.
I believe that is correct.
And we just needed the PER approved so we could go for the loan grant funding. And you can't put in the loan grant funding applications until we approve this PER.
And Dave didn't give you any.
Well, I've looked at it a lot, so what I would recommend is.
I recommend we approve it,
Depending on Dave not having any change, with minor amendments, you could.
with minor amendments.
Because if it's something small and not a major deal that Dave has input on, it would still be passed. I've looked over a couple of times and there's, you know.
I have to apologize. I know this is our homework and I didn't. Come on, board. Move along.
If this is for about five, why is it, to do the smart meter thing?
Does that have nothing to do with the smart meter?
Well, as I'm thumbing through here, I got a smart meter thing. And so I was wondering what that had to do with this.
What do you think should be 114? Maybe just.
Well, maybe I got
Oh,
somebody
you got an
else's.
extra smart meter thing, doesn't it?
Okay, because I'm like, what has this got to do with this?
Yeah, that was.
So. Is anybody missing their smart meter thing?
I guess we could rescind until Thursday.
Riveting.
Correct, we know this is correct, we consider the loan amount of principal payment.
Well, that's what we provided.
I think we did do a vote, I think we should rescind, it'd be so much
Okay.
faster.
We're almost saying that.
Okay.
I hope.
Because really the motion needs to say that based on whatever happens on Thursday, that we approve it in principle, but amendments will be made on Thursday. For the mistakes. That's per year? It doesn't say per year. Yeah, I guess it does, so I guess it just assumes that each of these is per year.
Since it's going to the USDA, they'll have that current information there.
It says down there, it says, 5,000 per year, total debt service.
Where?
If you look below, the schedule, it says districts may currently or following payments for debt service reserve. It says on 3, 4, and 6.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look and say per year. So, but that would be a small thing that they can fix.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess
I make
I'm
a motion.
it's in principle. If the motion is approving this in, or in,
I make a motion that we approve the well 5 emergency replacement project preliminary engineering report with the possibility of an amendment or minor changes, from Dave with self-help
and us.
and us.
I think that's good enough. Like that per year, cause I'm gonna ask them about that.
All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Then we'll just carry this over to the next week.
So,
Right,
you know,
okay,
you should just
He says
contact.
it's good, then he can just send it.
There, and we started talking, so what happened is she didn't vote,
I didn't vote and I didn't say motion was
but the
carried.
motion was carried.
but the motion did carry because we had already voted on it, so we just.
No, you heard us voting.
Yeah,
Yeah, the four, yes.
so I think
So if that's good, then let's go.
that would be an abstention from you,
That's exactly what I was gonna do.
yeah.
Well, that's 10 minutes of our life we'll never get back.
And so if the board's okay with that, I believe that we should, on Thursday, put this on our agenda for that other meeting, make sure that Dave, we should call Dave ahead of time and tell him to bring any changes he has. Or to send them to us or whatever ahead of time so that we can look at them and we should look at them.
And I appreciate you guys' thoroughness. I do.
And Linda's gone until when, if we had to question for
2
her?
weeks?
It was 2.5 weeks. She's coming back
She'll be back for the
The-
next meeting.
like 2 days
For
before
the next regular, or the next meeting.
yeah. 2 days before.
I mean, I the only reason I'm being like weird with this is that this wording is completely incorrect in our resolution for the first USDA loan and the second USDA loan. So do we really want to do it again in the third USDA loan? No. Like it needs to just clearly say what our debt service is. I mean, even if the numbers are, it's not as much the numbers as it is the reserve or the replacement, because remember that's our whole problem with the bonds on the other ones, which have never been repaired.
Okay, ready? Discussion and vote on the Irwin contract with D. Jasper and Associates.
Table that.
Okay,
So we need to move the table.
Move it, yeah,
still no contract, okay?
I make a motion that we table, that until the next meeting.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 500, motion carried. The discussion and vote on the USDA contract with D. Jasper and Associates.
That was almost complete, but then there were some last minute changes
No,
again,
that's
so.
a different.
Oh, that's a different one.
That's a different contract. Dave said to wait on this till we get the other contract.
Tabled.
Okay, can I table that one too?
I'll move that we table. Did we vote on the last move?
Yes.
12C.
Okay, I'll move that we table 12C until the following the planning meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 500, motion carried. Discussion and vote on FPLOW consolidation planning project. A, project contract with D. Jasper and Associates.
So that's the one.
That's the one that, we thought was done, but then there were still some last minute changes, so we're waiting for them to come back again.
So we're gonna table that one too, huh?
Should we just table all of 13A and B?
Yes. Well, I have an update on B.
Okay, sure.
Say,
we need
has-
Wait, we gotta vote on
Table that
table,
first.
I need a motion for
I
tabling
move that we table 13A and 13. Well, no, that we table 13A till our planning meeting
Do I hear a
this
second?
month.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
500, motion carried. B, test well site location and acquisition update.
Dee's called Saya, I believe he said 5 times without any response, so they're avoiding his phone calls. So now it's my turn to make some calls. And then if that don't work, then we're gonna then we'll have to continue on with the Plan B for Saya Ranch, which is force issue. So by the next meeting, I'll have another update on that.
Say is ignoring any contact from him?
Well, yeah, he's called 5 times and the guy Nathan never answers the calls and never calls him back. Which, historically, that's how they've been in the past. When Greg was still here, they were like that. Talk to our attorney and then they just ignore it, so.
You're talking about.
We're gonna have to go play hardball now.
The
Yeah.
SEA?
Yeah, Soledad Enrichment Associate or whatever it is.
But before that, wasn't it Tate Ranch?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's
they
been years.
sold-
That's been 10 years.
Okay. And otherwise it's been that long. Okay.
It's been,
Well, not 10, but it's been a
well,
little
I
bit.
guaranteed it's been 7.
Yeah.
So it's the better part of 10 years, you know, been gone.
Okay.
Okay.
So B carries over.
Okay. Okay, 14, discussion and vote on meter replacement project. This is where I get my 2 things.
I don't have an update on the project other than Dave's working on it.
Okay.
The application, yeah, no update on A.
When I was thumbing through the other part, I saw that about the,
That's B. He said we move on to B.
Well, I think we move that, I mean, again, we don't have anybody to update us on anything, so I move that we carry 14,
We should at least just read into the record that.
that's B.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're
So I
on A.
move that we
application.
put 14A to table it until our planning meeting this month.
Do I hear a second?
The second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
500. Motion carried. Discussion and vote on potential effects of smart meters.
Tiffany has an update for you, but to everybody I've talked to, this is a non-argument for anybody to try to say. It goes back to when they were saying that using a cell phone every day causes a brain tumor. And but even the lady who sent the letter, in her attachments, it says that a smart meter is a lot less even than a cell phone in radio waves. The attachment that Tiffany's got, that's included in there, says right on it unequivocally that it is not a health risk. Tiffany also has an update from Alan Dowd on that.
Oh.
So
Where did this come from, though?
Dave sent it.
Dave sent this,
Okay, but it's from, Dave sent it, but who actually wrote this article?
Okay, so continue on with Alan's, what did Alan say about it? Our attorney?
So, Director Schoenberg was asking if we need to go, now that we have a public who has a concern, if we need to go back and maybe bring the environmental up again. But Alan said that we did what we were required to do. We filed notice with the county. The county has the public comment period, and then it closes. And because somebody brings something up after that, we're under no obligation to go back and reopen it. Everything's fine. We've done according to how we need to do, and unless we have specific factual testing knowledge
That it would cause
that it would
cancer or
cause
something.
problems, then this is just a concern and move on.
and this particular article was written by
Andrew Heitzman.
Heitzman, February 12th, 2019. It's How to Geek, and it says, no, smart meters aren't dangerous to your health. Before you head off to search for what smart meters are, you need to hear something very important. Smart meters, like any other device that emits radio frequency radiation, do not pose any risk to your health. Right now, there's a lot of buzz on the internet
about the dangers of smart meters. People claim that because smart meters utilize radio frequencies, they can cause cancer, anxiety, insomnia, and other complications. These aren't just harmless internet conspiracies. There are actual protests against the statewide adoption of smart meters, and the protesters cite their health as their main concern. But what are smart meters? How do they work? And why is the radio frequency radiation harmless?
But what makes this guy an expert?
But what I'm saying is when you research it yourself,
Learn to smile.
when you talk to people and you look at all the protests, they went with the electric company and the gas company, nobody has any credible proof that it causes any health risks other than
It wasn't credible enough for them to stop the
nothing.
process.
There's
Yeah.
nothing. They're still putting them in all the time. It's the same thing, except for it's even less because your electric meter's right next to your house. The water meter's in the ground out in front of your house and it's transmitting these little burst signals, so it's not a
Not close enough or high enough.
it's not a concern,
Yeah.
Otherwise, they've been putting them in since 2006, and it's 2019 now, so nobody has won in court saying that it causes health risks, so.
I have no problem with us moving forward because we met the requirement
Yeah.
for the comment period.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's enough evidence. It would have to be, you know, actual hard scientific evidence, and this isn't hard scientific evidence, nor is any of the stuff I read that was on the internet. None of it is conclusive. So therefore,
And looking into it further would just be expensive for us.
well, there's nothing conclusive, that's out there. I mean, there's nothing that's like a study that's absolutely determined that it causes issues. So I think barring, you know, at this point, unless there was something really conclusive that the person could bring forward that was like a scientific study that changed our whole opinion of the project in the first place, that really, then
Yeah.
we just need to move on.
Well,
And I think that would have happened with one of the other smart meters companies that's installing.
Because the gas company and electric
Everybody's
company are
got 'em,
already,
yeah.
like you said, are already smart meters, and they're already on the people's houses. They're not even like ours will be in front of the houses, down in the ground, so it's not like it's even close to their house.
And just so you know, American Cancer Society, one of their comments is it would be nearly impossible to conduct a study to prove or disprove a link between living in a house with smart meters and cancer because people have so many sources of exposure to RF and the level of exposure from this source is so small. That's from the American Cancer Society, so I don't think it's an issue.
If they can't figure it out, then we're not gonna be able
Okay.
Okay,
There's nothing to vote on, is there?
to. No.
no, we just move
Okay.
on. Well, we've addressed, I just wanted to make sure we addressed it
No, yes.
because she had sent us a letter.
Correct.
And, you know, unfortunately, there is no studies that actually show that, so, and we met the requirement, so the project
So we could
goes-
pull 14B off of the agenda.
Yes.
Yeah, we're done with that, so.
There we go. Okay. Discussion and vote on mainline extension on Kiwanis Trail.
Okay, we're still in a holding pattern. I think next week Santana's going to come in and trench across it to determine once and for all what's in the road, what we need to do, and then I'll have an update on the next meeting.
So we're tabling that one too?
Yep.
Carry over?
So
We should
that
carry. We
needs
should
to-
carry this one on to
to
the next regular meeting.
Yeah, so I move that we
We're going to start not getting
table
paid.
16 until the meeting for November, the first regular meeting for November.
Yeah, we're starting to get so much on the second meeting each
I'll
month.
second that.
They might not pay for it.
All in favor?
Aye.
500. Motion carried. New business. Discussion and vote on forming a standing committee. Okay.
What is a
Explain
standing
that.
committee?
I can tell you that.
So there's
Perfect, thank
nothing
you.
in here in regard to that.
No. Okay, so I called Ellen Dowd, and I will give you his recommendation. So an ad hoc committee, by definition, is temporary, is formed to do a specific research where you gain information, based on that information, come back to the board and make a recommendation for the board to make a decision. That's what an ad hoc does. Like when they do the budget, they do the numbers, they bring it back to the board, recommendations for budget, and you make a decision. Temporary, one purpose, over. A standing committee is when the board decides there needs to be a regular occurrence of a meeting where you can have 2 members and the 2 members can make decisions on behalf of the board. It's not temporary, it's a meeting that occurs regularly and doesn't necessarily have a foreseeable end, but something that's supposed to keep occurring on. In this situation, the state approached us and said, can you give us regular updates on the status of the planning project? The state asked for it. We said, we'd love to give you updates. So we're sending 2 representatives of the board who can give updates along with staff. It is not an ad hoc. They're not researching anything. They're not giving recommendations back to the board. And it's not temporary. So it is not an ad hoc.
That's not correct. We are giving recommendations back to the board. The recommendations
Well-
we're giving back to the
You're on
board
an ad hoc
are
committee
the,
though.
huh?
You're on an ad hoc committee though.
But the recommendations
Okay.
we have been giving back to the board are that we're going over, so there's 2 things going on that. There's what you're saying, which is the phone call, and then there's a second half which happens between everybody else who's coming to that meeting, which is that we're going over the payouts. And
Right.
that,
That's what she's saying, the standing can actually make decisions,
Well,
right?
that standing would, now this is Alan's way of helping you out. This is a meeting asked for by the state, it is not. Now, if you would like to do work of an ad hoc committee at that meeting, and you are not making it temporary, you're going to have to A, make it a standing committee, which is now agendized, subject to the Brown Act, or B, have only 1 member of the ad hoc attend the state update meeting. And if you are calling it an ad hoc meeting, an ad hoc committee for the planning project, you can send 1 person to the state update and not have to make it a standing committee. If you want both people to go, call it an ad hoc and make this a regular occurrence, you're going to have to form a standing committee and then, so he's trying to
I don't understand how
help.
that's correct though, because
He's trying to
I know he's
find,
our lawyer, but
He's got a solution though.
no, but I'm saying it's not a permanent, that ad hoc has got 1 function. There's 2 functions going on right now, so, but one of them has nothing to do with the ad hoc, it has to do with the phone call, which I understand what he's saying. But the ad hoc function is not an ongoing permanent thing, it's only right now, you only agreed on that ad hoc as being for the planning. Then we have to do it again for so it is getting dissolved each time that we go to a new thing,
Well-
because we dissolved it when we went from the,
we've never dissolved an ad
We
hoc
did.
except
you
the
know,
one
The
time
budget.
we did the budget.
Oh.
That was the first and only time we've ever dissolved an ad hoc.
I thought we re-voted on it when we went from the pre-planning to the planning.
No, this is still the
Okay.
carryover, the original pre-planning ad hoc.
But it's still not, it's not an ongoing committee that has no end, it has an end.
Well, we're talking possibly years.
Yeah, but it has an end, it's not maybe years for the planning, but it should be happening each time there's a,
Yeah, and I'm giving you his recommendation.
I don't
You're
understand what the
taking
difference,
yourself
I
into a
don't
hole.
remember ever reading anything about one person. Why is one person going different than two people going?
Because he's saying if you're gonna take your full ad hoc committee and have them attend a regular meeting at a set date and time, you're crossing over into the standing committee.
Maybe laws have changed since the last time you read up on it. I mean, you've been on board for how long now? 12 years? Maybe things have changed since then. Maybe that's why he's giving us that advice.
That's why he's saying it was a meeting called for by the state or your representatives. If you leave it at that, it's not an ad hoc. You're doing a day of service.
Well, that's the phone call, that's fine.
Right,
That covers the phone call, but I'm saying we've been doing additional
right.
work there. So one of two things needs to happen. Either that additional work is not happening, but that's a problem because then we have to do it all the evening of the meeting.
Isn't it all part of the phone call? Going over the bills and invoices and everything, that's all part of the meeting, the phone
No,
call.
it's
I
not.
think Dave intends it.
Yeah, that's
Intended
what
it to
the
be.
plan was.
The payouts? No, the payouts aren't part of the phone call.
Going over the invoices is supposed to be part of the
I think it
invoices
was
because the
first-
state wanted an update on that stuff.
I don't
What
know.
do you, Roma, what do you think, because you're in there, I mean, are you doing an ad hoc or are you doing a standing committee?
It,
I think it's legalese. I think it's important
Yes.
to remember that what Alan is saying is it's in the verbiage and not necessarily exactly what you're doing. But if you call it one thing, you're not following the letter of the law, is what he's trying
well,
to tell
he's
you.
saying don't call it an ad hoc because it's not an
That's
ad
what he's
hoc,
trying to
which-
tell you. Is you don't
I
want to call it that.
understand.
So.
But what I'm saying is that I don't believe you can do any of the other work if it's not some sort of committee or some sort of something because
Isn't that the definition of a standing committee? Can you
Yeah.
read it again? What it is, so she knows.
Let's see.
no, I know I know what
I
a standing
covered
committee
what
is.
we were going to talk about. Everything we did at the last meeting would be covered under that.
Under standing committee, but then you have to agendize it.
Yeah, which is a pain.
When we're taking minutes, which is a meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, I think it might be, but the only problem I have with making it a standing committee is that it dissolves at a point. It's not a standing. I mean,
Not a permanent thing.
it's only a standing committee to be fully transparent for the Brown Act, but it doesn't completely fall under. It's an odd thing because it isn't ongoing. Because I get standing committees. Standing committees would be like if you had a finance committee or a budget committee, and it went on
Every year.
forever, you know, and it always needed to be there. But this has a stopping
Beginning and an
date. It's just, but the stopping date is multiple years in the future. So what it says in the Brown Act is, you know, when you have a question, is to try to be as transparent as possible. So then it kind of doesn't matter if it has an end date because it's just basically saying do it as a standing committee because that the whole idea of the Brown Act is for the public to not feel like you're trying to do an end run around them and have committees that they have no notice of and that they're not allowed to attend. So I don't know. I think
Do you think we need more clarification on it?
no, I think to do what we need to do, we probably need to make it a standing committee, if that's what we want to do. Otherwise, this
Well, you've
committee.
just been arguing against it the whole time because you said there's so many conditions that don't fall into that.
I know, but
requirements of it.
ultimately, the Brown Act says like when there's ultimately, my understanding of the Brown Act is that you always err on the side of the public. So even if it doesn't completely fall under the definition of a standing committee, then you err on the side of the thing that's most transparent. And I think so. What he's saying is, we can do the phone call and not do anything else, and whatever's covered in the phone call is fine because the state's asked us to do that. But if we're trying to cover other things like what we did last time, where we were trying to deal with, and what we're doing now is we have to cover this PER, right? So if we're trying to cover the PER as a quote unquote ad hoc,
But that's separate from the state meeting. I mean, you're asking questions, but your PER were.
yeah, it's completely separate. So is but the PER is something that ends. It has so the PER, I guess, if you're only meaning to talk about the PER, but then we have a third thing that we're just trying to put like a whole bunch of stuff into that meeting at the same time. So if we put a whole bunch of stuff into that meeting, it needs to be a standing committee. If we don't do the payout requests, I guess it can just be a phone call. And then we could still, as the ad hoc, figure out stuff and bring it, like we could still look at that PER, because that has a definite ending. Like that would be a function just for the PER.
I'm confused.
Keep it simple as normally the recommendation, like you were saying, because now you're crossing into new laws.
It just means that you guys need to go through all the stuff that we really, I was trying to. We either have a standing committee where a couple people are on that committee and we look at things forever from now on, whatever we need to look at outside of the meeting, and that committee can invite people to come. It's basically another meeting, but just doesn't have to be the full board. Or we don't do any of that. We do it at the planning meeting and we just do the phone call as an invitation for the state to have information. That's how I see it. So if we're trying to do extra stuff, like look at the PER in any length and go through the PER or anything like that,
And the payouts.
You're
especially payouts, because payouts are going to be an ongoing thing, then in the interest of transparency, it should be made a standing committee.
Yeah, we always did payouts in the regular meetings though before.
No, we didn't.
No, I
No,
always
we've-
reviewed everything prior to the meetings and did all the work prior and got with Dave prior and had him fix things, and then we brought it to
And in every
to the board.
USDA, and I don't know, we just didn't do it as a standing committee. And
But
every
if it's only one of you, that's not anything, right? If you're just going over invoices yourself and you're one board member, then that's not anything, right? That's just you doing homework, correct?
right, but in the past, it wasn't just one of us. It was it just me? Well, I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
What
Well, I mean,
the USDA, the 2 grant loans, I'm pretty sure it wasn't just me. I'm pretty sure maybe it was just me and Greg. That was before you were on the board, so I don't know. I can't remember. But we did, USDA has always done this thing where we go over the payouts at a completely separate meeting, talk about everything, and then it would get voted on at the board meeting with a recommendation. It's how it always has happened. It's just,
Is it like the checks on a regular payout? Rama flips through them, you flip through them, whoever wants to flip through them, but it's not, you're not doing it as an ad hoc.
yeah, that's
You're
what I'm
just
saying.
looking through the checks. It could be the same thing with the claim.
Yeah, you're just doing
Anybody
your
can
homework.
look through the claim.
but we actually have the USDA here. They're actually on the phone. I mean, it's always been like an actual meeting. The engineers here, the people who are doing, the when the project actually happens, we have to do it too,
Yeah,
because
but
somebody has to
aren't
be
we
on
still
top of the
doing that?
project.
We're still doing that. You're just perusing it the week before. We're still having a meeting for the payout. Everybody's still gonna look over everything, right? We're having 2 meetings a month for that, to do payouts.
Because we're really not approving the payouts,
Yeah, you're
Reviewing them.
we're just
Well,
reviewing them.
that's the same thing we always did. We didn't approve the payouts at those other meetings either with the USDA. We reviewed everything with
Yeah, like you said, that was you and Greg. That was you and the general manager.
I could have sworn that was somebody else, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, who else was on the board at that
No
time?
one.
One of them?
Well, actually, Jerry, but Jerry wasn't the one that was.
and Gina wasn't part of it.
Okay, we need to make a decision, so.
Or if you want further clarification and you want to talk to the attorney more, you can make a phone call, carry it over. It's kind of up to you how you want to. Because it sounds like we're not as clear as men.
Well, okay.
Okay.
We know we can do the phone call, so the phone call's fine. So the phone call's not an ad hoc. The phone call is just us being asked by the state to.
You're being representative.
We're being representatives. We are still an ad hoc because we still have to look at other stuff but are we? Because that's the big question, because we're an ad hoc for the project. So are we? It's ongoing. It has an end date. I mean, that's really the question.
Yeah, it's ongoing and
So-
it's long-term, but it's not
I think
permanent.
it's just an ad hoc.
Yeah, I think we just leave it the way
I
it
think we
is.
should leave it as it
The
is.
issue is regular meeting times, because the ad hoc doesn't usually have regular meeting times.
No,
We've
you're
just,
just doing something to.
it's became regular meeting times because of the phone call. So I
Because the
guess
state asked
what
for
it-
that
the
date.
meeting with the state.
what it-
But that would be like us making a date to get together.
I think what needs to happen is we need to have a different day that we talk about stuff. Then it's an ad hoc clearly and a phone call clearly. We're trying to put it all into one day to be convenient and to be able to ask questions of everybody that's here, but I don't know if we can do
Or
that.
do it before. I mean, do it before, do it after. It's not part of it.
If we do it before or after,
So you're asking me
it's
to come
still
and
coming every.
give like an hour of my free time all the time? Is that what you're saying? No, I'm asking
How
a
long
question.
are you on the phone with the state?
An hour.
At least an hour.
It's not free time. I mean, are you asking as far as compensation?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm just how
You're
do I?
compensated as a day of service.
Right, but
It's a service.
right. I mean, but I don't know how that.
No, what I'm saying is that the sort of ad hoc. The reason why it got weird is that the ad hoc became a regular meeting with a regular day. The only reason it's a regular meeting with a regular day is because the state wants to do the phone call at a regular time. The phone call needs to be completely separate from anything that the ad hoc is doing. The ad hoc could still be an ad hoc. I guess we wouldn't be able to have like Dave and everybody here in a particular. I mean, I guess we could bring people in if we have questions of them, but it has to be just for research purposes only, which is really what it is. And then it comes to the planning meeting.
Well, you can have other people involved in your
But-
ad hoc. When you do the budget, Linda puts her input,
Yeah.
Johnny puts his input, everybody helps with
But
the
what
numbers
about like
while
the
you're doing your
engineer
meeting.
and the?
It's just another person.
Just another person giving.
So it just can't be on the same
information.
day. It means we have to do a separate.
Well, I don't know if I
My
can
minute
get the
show
same
it.
date.
It can't be
Because
it's at a regular date and time. Then it's
But we meet with the other water
Starting to feel
thing
fine.
on a regular date and a regular time.
that's not a committee. It's a group of. That's
But
not.
we formed an ad hoc, so
Well,
you and I
that's
could go
wrong.
there.
That's wrong too. So that ad hoc is probably wrong. That's probably a standing committee. And then it would
Unless
have.
Well, then
you're
we
going
can't
as
attend because
representatives
there's
to-
no agenda, there's no,
There is an
minutes,
agenda.
there's no, I mean,
There are minutes. The public is invited. It's even been posted. It's in the paper, but it's just not. Actually, I think that's us going as not as an ad hoc because we're not getting paid for it anyway.
No.
We're going as representatives of Fraser Park PUD to a different meeting that has an agenda that has all that stuff, but it's not a meeting of Fraser Park Public Utility District. We're just representatives, so that one is, and it's, but we're calling it an ad hoc. It's sort of an ad hoc. It's, I don't know. That one's iffy. That one's more representative. Anyway. So, I think we just can't do it on the same day, and it can't be a regular.
do you guys have any input?
The phone call's fine. The phone call, we're just representatives of the board being asked.
But
by
why
the
couldn't you
state,
do
so-
it on the same day? Because the phone call's over with if we chose to.
Because
meet.
if we're always meeting on the same day at the same time, that's the issue.
Well,
Then
it was
it's
the
a
same day
committee.
and it was a different time. Wouldn't
No, because it's like it's always either gonna be before or after the meeting. Then you're doing like some weird end run around it that's not really cool.
But it's not really uncool. We're a small board.
Well, it's not
You
like
know?
it's not like you're making you're approving anything because you're still bringing the information back to the board, and then it gets publicly talked about, and we approve it and we vote on stuff. So
Yeah, if-
why I don't understand why it's a problem because we're still just doing
Same thing.
extra work.
Well, we don't have an agenda for that, and we don't have minutes for
Then you have
that.
one when it starts and it finishes, and then the other one starts and finishes.
And the other one, see,
And Ellen said,
And the ad hoc could be
"Don't
more
ever
open-ended,
stop anybody
right?
from walking in, and you'll never have an issue. Being representatives. So if somebody comes in, oh, what are they doing? And they want to sit.
Yeah, they can.
Don't
well,
stop
that's
it,
true.
you're never
That's the
gonna
whole
violate
idea.
anything.
The whole idea of the Brown Act is to not have meetings that the public's not allowed to attend. And
So
it-
keep it
So-
open, and you won't have an issue with it.
Okay, so then all we do is we can publicize it like we do our regular meetings
Well, no, it doesn't have to be.
But if they're just being an ad hoc, then
Don't
they,
lock the door.
I don't see the problem with having two different meetings on the same day for two different kinds of committees. As long as,
well, one of them's not a committee or anything. It's just representatives. I don't know if I'm-
whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, two meetings in one day, as long as they're clearly defined. One, the public would be invited, right? The one when you're talking to the state. If the public wanted to come in, they could come in, right?
We don't have to agendize it and make an announcement, but if somebody walked in and we didn't,
And I think
Don't
we're
kick 'em
splitting
out, that's
hairs,
all.
and
Yeah.
it's,
don't lock a door and don't kick anybody out. Just be here and be open.
Yeah, no, it's open because we're just discussing
Right.
information and reporting. And then we bring it back to the board and report on it.
I think when we start talking about this kind of stuff this late in the evening, we're all a bit loopy, and we're like, you know,
we almost need
you
to.
know, let's just go going around in
Okay,
a circle.
so do you want to start meeting at 10 in the morning? Then we can have. Okay, so do you want to stay as an ad hoc?
I think we just leave
Yeah.
it as
Stay as
is.
Because
I,
representative.
yeah,
Representative and then
An ad
an ad hoc
hoc.
afterwards.
yeah. I think it's fine, Lisa. I don't think it's
And
I don't
then,
think it's an issue. I really don't.
If you lose sleep over it, can we bring it up again?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to make sure that we're not.
I think we're parsing
Doing
things
anything weird.
Well, it
too
just sounds
hard.
like it's gonna be,
Because it's not
very
like we're
confusing
making
to
we're
do
not making
together.
we're not making decisions that the public doesn't know about. We're giving information, we're getting information, then we review our ad hoc, we're reviewing things, and then we bring it to the open public board meeting where we disclose what we talked about, and then we vote. If there's a vote to be had, then we vote on it. So it's not like we're not transparent. So
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah, we're not voting on anything. So
Right.
whereas a standing committee, you could vote on stuff, but we don't want to be able to vote.
I
on
don't want
stuff.
that. So I
Yeah.
think we leave it as an ad hoc, it's good as it is, and that's it. I think I move that we
We're good.
close this discussion.
We're good.
But basically, the ad hoc doesn't have to meet at that time every single time. It can just meet as it needs to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, as it needs to.
But
So
the
when
phone
we get
call
off the
is a
phone call,
representative.
if we get off the phone call and
And
then,
there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do.
Right.
okay, so,
I don't know if we have time for the minutes.
Should-
Do we need to motion to extend the meeting?
are we just closing discussion 16, gone? Okay. We're not doing a standing committee.
17.
Okay, 17. Okay, can we get it squeaked out in 7 minutes?
Has anybody read the minutes? She has, so we can get it done, right?
Well, Tiffany did tell us to look at them really close, right?
Yes.
And I didn't find any, I mean, I found something kind of, I thought was wackadoo, but, you know. It looked good to me. On the one for September 12th, on page 2, at the end of number 7, that last sentence,
Page what?
page 2.
Last line of number 7.
Last line in number 7.
They explained that if the freeway shut
Yeah,
down,
that doesn't
there's
make sense.
no good cause and nobody can get through.
Good cause and everything. That was Terry.
Explain that, Em.
Didn't I show up in the
Yeah.
middle of this meeting?
You
Yeah.
did, and it was noted when you showed up, because that
But
was
it
my.
doesn't look
my
like
first-
that from the beginning.
I know,
It
but at
says
the
that.
beginning you're not here, but then you do,
Right, but
you
doesn't
do
it
show
need to
up.
say like Director
She does.
Schoenberg
It does.
absent and then Director Schoenberg
It
you know,
does, and later
in
in,
B?
later in the,
Minutes, when you
Minutes.
actually showed up.
I
Like
know,
at
but if you look
6:49?
at the roll call of directors,
You weren't there for roll call.
I know, but normally wouldn't it say C whatever when
No,
directors-
later when you walked in, they say, where is it?
Yeah, but somebody looking at this basically thinks I'm not there for the whole meeting.
Well, they
well,
should read
that's
the
all
whole
they say.
minutes.
If
Yeah.
that's all they
Minutes.
look at, then,
I'm just saying, normally you would put that. We've done that before, but okay.
See, I'm talking about the time here.
Okay, are you making a motion?
I will make a motion.
was that the only, that one sentence?
That was the only one I found.
On 7, okay.
Um,
We'll have to figure out what we need to put in there, but,
I move that we pass the minutes for Thursday, September 12th, 2019 with the amendment given and the possibility for additional amendments for typos or other errors that we may not have caught or that may need to be corrected.
Top of page 4, Lisa?
I second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain.
Did you see the top of page 4?
Yeah, I see it. I just
I
don't
just wanna
agree
point that out to you.
No, I know.
Well, you didn't respond, so I didn't know
401.
what you're doing.
Motion carried? Okay. Did you do, September 26th?
I didn't find anything.
I was just saying for consistency. Way in the past, you did it differently, so it's okay.
I didn't find, did anybody find any problems? No? Okay. In the wording.
You gonna make a motion?
I will make a motion that we pass the minutes for Thursday, September 26th, 2019, with the possibility for additional amendments for typos or other errors that we may not have caught or that may need to be corrected.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. You
Jerry?
abstaining? Jerry?
Abstain.
Oh, you weren't there.
But I have a problem on the last
401.
one. If I abstain, I can't attest to a meeting being correct. Right? Or can I?
I think you can still sign the minutes.
Because I'm
But
attesting.
you're just abstaining from making, an abstention is just saying, I have
You
nothing to
didn't
say.
vote.
It's
That's it.
actually
That's just I didn't vote. It's not
it's a
saying-
no vote though.
No, it's not.
Abstentions.
No, it's not.
Aren't they?
Mm-mm. It's a silent, that's it.
Silent but
It's not
deadly.
a no. And you can still attest to it.
Okay.
It's a playing hard to get. It's neither a no
Any
or a
further
yes.
agenda items that we need to put on?
You were a yes on the minutes on the 26th?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Jerry, some here, so. Any other agenda items? Future ones? No? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Oh. Do I
I'll second
second
it.
it? Got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
8:54.
When did we wanna meet? We're gonna meet before the meeting.